Of Fordham women's basketball on WFUV Sports. Tonight's matchup is between Fordham and Albany in the second game of the season for both these teams. I'm Nick Guzman alongside Julia Moss. And Julia, Fordham defeated Adelphi 70-43 in their season opener on Monday. It was also the first game of the Bridgette Mitchell era. What did we learn about the Rams in that game against the Panthers?
I mean, we learned a lot, right? First time, them playing on a court in the Rose Hill Gym. But the two things I want to focus on. First, defensive excellence in the game. Fordham forced 20 points off of turnovers and out-rebounded Adelphi 55-39. Second thing, very big rotation. Coach Mitchell played all 10 active players. They saw at least 5 minutes of action in the contest, and they spread the wealth. Every single player got a shot off and scored at least 1 point in this game, and that rotation just got a little bit bigger, going from 10 to 11 with the addition now of Taya Davis, which I'm sure Fordham is really excited to have back.
We got a chance to sit down with Coach Mitchell just moments ago. Take a listen. All right, Coach, you guys beat Adelphi 70-43 in your season opener on Monday. It was your first time seeing your team in a real game. Just your overall takeaways from that one.
Yeah, it was really good to see them play as fast as they did. We're looking to continue that tonight. I think that it's really important for us to remember what our defensive principles are, because that's what led to that victory. So we're just looking forward to repeating.
Coach, you used all players that dressed out for that first game. So I'm wondering, from your perspective, what does that say about your team's preparedness and just readiness to go into the game at any point?
Definitely. I think that with having a roster of only 12, one injury now, so 11, I think that it's really important that everybody has what we call a TTG mentality. Everybody's trained to go, right? So you're trained to go. You got to be ready when your name is called. And I think that all of our players are confident in doing that.
Coach, you guys had 11 steals as a team on Monday. You guys were super aggressive on defense, both full court pressing and double teams on defense. Is that something we can expect to see moving forward?
Yes, you can expect to see that every game, right? It's going to vary opponent-wise, right, depending on who we play, how much we do it and when. We like to be strategic when we're pressing and when we're trying out different defenses. So you'll be able to see that. You'll see a little bit more zone tonight, right? We like to mix that up and throw that in there as well that we didn't do very much of against Adelphi. And so each game requires a little something different, and we have the tools, so really looking forward to us doing that tonight.
Albany also coming off of an opening win against Merrimack. What have you seen from them so far that could potentially make them dangerous in tonight's matchup?
Definitely. They have a strong post presence. They look to get the ball inside. If you're watching their games after every timeout, after the start of every quarter, they're doing a play to get the ball inside. So it's going to be really important for our post to dominate the paint. They have to be willing to sacrifice their bodies, be physical, alter shots, be physical without fouling. And that's something that we talked about all week in preparation.
Thanks, Coach. We are just moments away from tip-off here inside the Rose Hill Gym between Fordham and Albany. Nick Guzman here alongside Julia Moss. And Fordham, a familiar face on the Albany side of things. Sarah Carpel, a four-year starter for this Fordham Rams team, now applying her trade to Albany.
100%. I mean, we've seen Sarah Carpel for so many years on the Rose Hill court, but not for the opposing teams. Must be such a weird feeling for her coming into this game, playing as an opposition in the Rose Hill Gymnasium instead of playing for Fordham. But she's off to an incredible start this season. Only one game, scored 17 points though. And for those who don't know, that would tie a career record for her time at Fordham in all 4 years. So to say the least, her role seems to have changed from team to team. At Fordham, more of a facilitating player, really great at dishing the ball out, getting a lot of assists, but she was never really that premier primary scorer, but that might change now.
She didn't have to be when you had somebody like Asia Dingle or Anna DeWolf doing the scoring, but a great facilitator, Sarah Carpel, great defensively, good to have her back inside the Rose Hill Gym. We do have starting lineups for you for both teams. For Fordham, it'll be Taylor Donaldson, Amy Hayford, Mandy McGurk, Rose Nelson, and Mina Lee. In the last game, it was Miranda Nyborg, who got the start at center, but tonight it's Mina Lee getting that start. That's the 5 for Fordham. On the Albany side of things, it's Lily Phillips, Sarah Carpel, Helene Heigerstrand, Kayla Cooper, and Deja Evans. First on the Fordham side of things, Julia, which names stand out? We saw Amy Hayford lead the way with 18 points in the season opener.
I mean, it's got to be Amy Hayford, right? Leading scorer. We saw so many good plays from her in that first game, whether it be through scoring, rebounding. I mean, the whole team had plenty of rebounds from start to finish, but Amy Hayford is definitely someone that stands out to me. But also Mandy McGurk. This is a team that's going to have to score a little bit more in this game to keep up with the offensive advantage that Adelphi has, especially when you look at their matchup against Merrimack. So we're going to need to see a little bit more shooting, a little bit more threes, and Mandy McGurk can absolutely provide that. And
on the Albany side of things, they were fantastic, 22-12 last year. They were 14-2 in the America East Conference. I feel like you have to focus in on Helene Heigerstrand, who's first team All-America East in back-to-back seasons the last 2 years, and really just a big part of this offense.
They've got a really strong starting lineup, starting with, as you mentioned, Heigerstrand, but also Kayla Cooper. She led the team in points per game and rebounds per game last season, so definitely two players to watch for there. And then I guess Sarah Carpel now, after that first game, leading the team in scoring in the opener against Merrimack.
And for Fordham, it's going to be a super quick turnaround after this game. They play Miami in Miami on Sunday afternoon. So the team will fly to Florida early tomorrow morning. After that, they're back home to play Manhattan the following Thursday. It'll be interesting to see the quick turnaround between now and Sunday, how Coach B decides to approach that.
I mean, there's no bigger test in the next couple of days for this Fordham Reds team because, as you mentioned, they are playing tonight. They're on a flight at 10 a.m. tomorrow to go to Miami, a game Sunday, and then we're back to weekly games after that. So it's good to get that test out of the way early, see what they're made of, because Albany is a really strong opponent, but Miami, an Elite 8 team, is an even stronger opponent.
As we mentioned in the open, Taya Davis was not eligible in that first game, a little bit of a problem, but she's back and will play in this game. This is another weapon for Coach B to utilize. Offensively and defensively, she provides a lot as well.
I mean, they have so much wealth in that guard spot. Taya Davis only making that stronger.
And for Fordham here, Mina Lee gets the start at the 5 position. Miranda Nyborg started in the opener against Adelphi and played good in that role, but Mina Lee also was effective off the bench. We're just about ready for tip here at the Rose Hill Gym between Fordham and Albany. Albany are in purple. Fordham are wearing white. Albany attacking from left to right. Fordham from right to left. Mina Lee against Deja Evans on the tip. 10 minutes on the clock in the first quarter. The Bridget Mitchell era underway on Monday. It continues tonight here at the Rose Hill Gym. Fordham against Albany. They're just about set to get underway here. And here we go at the Rose Hill Gym. Lee wins the tip, but it's going to be a loose ball there, taken by Kayla Cooper of Albany, and they'll get the first possession with Sarah Carpel at the Block F logo. Swings it to the near side wing, now pass inside for Deja Evans. Carpel on the near side wing into the post. Kayla Cooper making a post move, knocked away from her. Good defense from the Rams, and it'll be Fordham ball.
Fordham already showing that they're going to continue what we saw a lot in that first game against Adelphi, and that is defensive intensity.
Mandy McGurk will carry the ball ahead for the Rams. A little of a press here from Albany, but a cross-court pass from McGurk to Taylor Donaldson on the far side. Donaldson, Rose Nelson, now on the near side wing. Mandy McGurk swings it into the corner for Amy Hayford. Hayford gets to the rack. That shot rims out, but a foul. So Amy Hayford will go to the free throw line.
Amy Hayford following up her incredible first game with a chance to get 2 early ones here.
Interesting, we talked so much last time about Fordham being in the press, Albany coming out early and pressing high up the court.
I mean, if you watched that first game, you saw that Fordham struggled at points against his press against Adelphi. So definitely props to Albany for taking advantage of what they saw in that first game and trying it themselves.
Hayford makes her first free throw. First points of the day on the board for either side. Hayford also had 3 steals in the opener, tied for the team lead. Fordham at 11 in total. Hayford, both free throws are perfect. It's 2-0 Fordham, 9:28 to go in the first quarter. And now Hayford and Fordham will get into their press. Taylor Donaldson applying the pressure on Sarah Carpel. Carpel again, across the timeline, and now Fordham will retreat. Carpel leading the offense at the Block F logo. Hayford watching her closely. Pass to the far side there for Kayla Cooper. Cooper to the far wing for Deja Evans. Evans, far wing now. Carpel swings it out. That three is rims out from Heigerstrand. Rebound by Rose Nelson. Hayford pushes the other way into the far corner for Mandy McGurk. Taylor Donaldson now straight away. And now McGurk at the logo will slow things down for the Rams. She hands off to Mina Lee on the right side. Taylor Donaldson takes a step in on her left hand. Donaldson gets to the rim. Donaldson, her shot blocked away by Deja Evans. And Albany will take possession with Sarah Carpel. Carpel here against Amy Hayford. Carpel pass into the right block. Deja Evans. Pass outside for Heigerstrand to the far wing for Sarah Carpel. Carpel gets inside the free throw line. Bounce pass. Looking for Evans. Bounces away from her. Out of play. Fordham ball.
And that was great vision by Sarah Carpel there, trying to get the ball inside on the right block. Just bounces off the knee of that post player. Possession going back to Fordham.
Rose Nelson here for Fordham. Pass to Amy Hayford to beat the press. Hayford gets the basket. Hayford can't finish. Rebound there by Mina Lee, who goes back up and finishes. 4-0 Fordham. 8:08 to go in the first quarter. Carpel again carrying the ball ahead for Albany. On the near wing, it's Lily Phillips. Swung out to the far side for Heigerstrand. Heigerstrand to the far corner, Carpel. Into the post for Evans. That's Cooper, rather. Cooper makes the post move, but Mina Lee's right there to say no. Kick back out, an open three. No good. Rims out from Lily Phillips. Another offensive board from Albany. That shot won't go from Evans. And finally, Mandy McGurk can come down with it for Fordham. McGurk leads the break the other way. McGurk to her right hand. Dishes out to the corner. Donaldson. And now Rose Nelson straight away. Donaldson now on this near side. Into the post for Mina Lee. Lee kicks it out. Mandy McGurk from mid-range. Off front rim. No good. Last touch off Mina Lee. And it'll be possession for Albany.
It's good off-ball movement so far from Fordham. Everybody is baseline cutting. Every time a pass pretty much is given to another player. That time, unfortunate error by Mina Lee. But this is actually gearing up to be a really fun game because we've seen presses from both teams early on in this one. Should be interesting to see how that affects the rest.
Substitution for both sides here with 7:23 to go in the first quarter. Fatima Lee comes into the game for Albany, and for Fordham, Rose Nelson checks out. Matilda Flood checks in. Lee on the far side for the Albany. Now to the far corner, Sarah Carpel swings it along. That three-pointer is good. Lily Phillips knocks it down. 4-3 Fordham. 7:02 to go in the first quarter. Flood will inbound at her own basket. Now Mandy McGurk. Albany still in this press. McGurk looking for an option. On the far side, Matilda Flood crosses the timeline. Flood in a double team. Now McGurk. Amy Hayford has some space. She's got Donaldson in the corner, but Hayford traveled.
Unfortunate timing there for Hayford to travel because Donaldson was wide open on that corner as a result of the double team of Matilda Flood early on in that possession.
Carpel will dribble ahead for Albany. Lee checked in for Deja Evans, who takes a seat on the bench. This is Heigerstrand straight away. Now to the near side for Lily Phillips. Swung into the corner for Sarah Carpel. Carpel, mid-range jumper. That's perfect from Kayla Cooper. Albany on top, 5-4 with 6:30 to go in the first. Matilda Flood. Cross halfway on the far side. Flood still going. Dribbled it off her own foot, it looked like. Yep. It will be Albany possession. But this Great Danes press providing a little bit of instability for Fordham.
And again, it's coming when they're under the basket. They can break the initial press easily. It's once they get past the half court where they're struggling.
This is Carpel for Fordham. Now on the near side, Fatima Lee. Straight away, Heigerstrand. Now to the far side, Lily Phillips. Lily Phillips. Taylor Donaldson got the steal. Nifty defensive work for Donaldson. She's got Lee, the bounce pass. Mina Lee, the left-handed finish. Beautiful transition play from Fordham. They're back on top, 6-5. Under 6 to play in this first quarter. Carpel again, now Heigerstrand, and to the far side for Lily Phillips. Phillips bounce pass into the corner for Lee. To the post for Heigerstrand. 2 Fordham defenders there, but a tough shot and a tough make for Helene Heigerstrand. 7-6 U Albany. Matilda Flood, pass up court for Mina Lee. Now Mandy McGurk will slow things down in the front court. McGurk calling for a screen. Now she moves to the far side of the court. Mina Lee, hands off for McGurk. Swing back to the near side for Matilda Flood. She gets the basket on her right hand. Flood can't finish with the layup, and the rebound is gathered by Lily Phillips. Phillips up ahead for Albany. Closely watched by Matilda Flood. Hands off for Sarah Carpel. Carpel on the near side now. Donaldson got a poke on it again, but Albany able to recover with Kayla Cooper. Carpel into the post for Heigerstrand. Matilda Flood watching her closely. Heigerstrand, another tough shot, another tough make from the post for Helene Heigerstrand. It's 9-6 Albany, 4:47 to go in the first quarter.
2 straight possessions there where Heigerstrand is able to go over the defender to make a very, as you mentioned, a very tough shot.
Mandy McGurk at the logo for Fordham. McGurk, pass to the near side, Taylor Donaldson. Donaldson tries to get to the baseline. She'll get called for the offensive foul. Possession for U Albany with 4:30 to go in the first quarter. They lead 9-6.
Taylor Donaldson extending her arm as she drove towards the bucket. They're going to call that every single time.
And that will send us to our first media timeout. You're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
What's up, everyone? I'm Julia Moss, one of the hosts of WFUV's women's sports podcast, All In. Join us each week as we break down everything from the WNBA, women's collegiate sports, the NWSL, and so much more. We're also joined by recurring hosts including Maddie Bamonte, Taylor Masetta, Sam Bohr, and Annabelle Watson. All In is a production of WFUV Sports.
Welcome back inside the Rose Hill Gym. U Albany with a slim 9-6 lead early over Fordham with 4:30 to go in this first quarter. Nick Guzman here alongside Julia Moss. And early on, Helene Heigerstrand, we highlighted her in the open, but some tough shots in the post she's been able to knock down.
And it's so interesting because Fordham has gotten much better looks on their end, but just barely missing those. But on the other end for U Albany, Heigerstrand is making everything she puts up so far.
And Sarah Carpel really seems to be the general of this offense, carrying the ball up pretty much every possession and making things happen offensively in terms of distribution.
I mean, and it shows how versatile she is on the offensive end. Last game scoring 17 points. And we also saw her shoot a lot of free throws. She definitely is capable of driving to the basket or drawing a foul. But so far in this game, we're seeing what we saw a lot when she played for Fordham, and that is facilitating and getting assists.
It's been impressive to watch so far as both teams come back out on the court. 4:30 to go in this first quarter. Albany 9, Fordham 6 in the early going. But Julie, the press from Albany has disrupted Fordham a little bit. It seemed like as we got closer to that media timeout, they were able to play through it a little bit better.
Absolutely, and it's interesting that they're both choosing to press so early on. It's not something we see very often, especially for Fordham games, but last game it worked for them quite a bit against Adelphi. Albany, definitely a better opponent, and we're seeing them able to break the press a little bit more, but on the Fordham side of things, definitely a good sign to see them working through that. First time they press, definitely not a very pretty sight, but the more that Albany presses, the better Fordham has reacted to it.
And coming out of this media timeout, Miranda Nyborg will check into the game, and so will Taya Davis, getting set for her first collegiate action for Fordham. Transfer from Garden City Community College in Kansas, originally from Illinois. But good to see Taya on the court as Mina Lee and Mandy McGurk will take a seat on the bench. A little bit different look for the Rams coming out of this media timeout. Davis, a player who averaged 8.5 points per game, but 7.3 assists as well at the JUCO level. So just a little bit different look for this Fordham offense.
Just another example of a player being incredibly versatile. And right now, Fordham really needs scoring. Only 6 points so far. Taya Davis can definitely provide that.
Sarah Carpel will inbound underneath her own basket, and it's a press for Fordham. Flood right on Carpel. And Carpel's able to get it in on the near side for Heigerstrand, but Fordham still with the pressure defensively through Flood. Sarah Carpel. Heigerstrand crosses the timeline. Pass it for Megan Herder on the court now. As Herder kicks out for Sarah Carpel. Carpel into the post. Beautiful move from Deja Evans. She can't finish. She gets it back and will draw the foul and go to the free throw line. So 2 shots for Deja Evans.
Deja Evans getting early minutes as a freshman. Had a tough first outing. 0 for 4. Split 4 free throws, 2 for 4 in the first outing. Has a chance to go get 2 free throws here.
The first one rattles home for Evans. She was able to grab 6 boards in that season opener. Also turned the ball over 3 times, looking for a bounce back in this game tonight. The second one is good as well from Evans, so it's 11-6 Albany with 4:15 to play in the first quarter. Amy Hayford ahead in the front court for Fordham. Hayford gets to the rack. Hayford lays it up and in. Quick points in transition again for Fordham. 11-8 now. Sarah Carpel back the other way for Albany. Carpel swings it to the near side for Lee. Lee now straight away for Deja Evans. Near side wing, Sarah Carpel. Carpel gets inside. She spins. Carpel, right-handed hook, no good. Rebound. That putback wouldn't go either from Deja Evans. Miranda Nyborg with the rebound. Taylor Donaldson now can cross the timeline on the far side, and Taya Davis will command the offense from the logo. Davis. Nyborg setting the screen. Davis doesn't like what she sees. Now she swings off for Nyborg straight away. Davis inside for Miranda Nyborg. Kicks it back out for Taylor Donaldson on the far wing. Donaldson gets inside. Donaldson, the left-handed floater's good. 11-10 Albany with 3:17 to go in the first quarter. Carpel once again for Albany at the Block F logo. Watched closely by Amy Hayford. Carpel, the pass inside for Deja Evans. Evans marked by Nyborg. The kick, the three-pointer, that one rims out from Fatima Lee. Rebound by Matilda Flood. Taya Davis back the other way for the Rams. She hands off on the far side for Taylor Donaldson. Gets the screen from Nyborg to the far corner for Davis. Bounce pass into the post for Nyborg. Nyborg backing down. Nyborg goes up with it. Blocked away by Deja Evans. Strong defense from the freshman.
Good idea by Miranda Nyborg there. Knows she has a height advantage down there in the post. That time not able to convert, but nonetheless, Fordham does keep possession.
Substitutions for both teams here. For Fordham, Kayla Harris will check into the game. Miranda Nyborg will check out. Lily Phillips is back in for Albany. As Davis inbounds underneath. Outside for Taylor Donaldson, who drains the three. Fordham back on top. It's 13-11 with 2:35 to go in the first quarter.
Surprisingly enough, that was the first time Fordham has shot a three this entire game. Nails it there.
Carpel here for Albany. Pass inside to Kayla Cooper, back on the court for the Great Danes. Cooper, kick outside for Fatima Lee on the near side. Lee, step back. She doesn't pull the trigger. Pass inside deflected. And near the baseline on the near side, Deja Evans. Evans gets inside, picks up her dribble, kicks back out for Cooper. Cooper, inside for Evans in the paint. An open three here for Lee. She rattles it home.
There was not a Fordham defender within 5 feet of her on that shot. Basically a warm-up shot, nails it there.
14-13 Fordham, or 14-13 Albany rather. Amy Hayford kicks to the far corner. Matilda Flood's open. That rims out off side rim. And a foul called underneath against Taylor Donaldson that'll go in the direction of Albany. So with 1:49 to go in this first quarter, it's 14-13 Great Danes.
Kayla Cooper pushed a little bit there in the post by Taylor Donaldson, leading to Donaldson having the wide open rebound, but the foul called before then. Donaldson absolutely in awe of the fact that they called that.
Rose Nelson will check back in for the Rams. Amy Hayford will take a seat on the bench. Check that, not Hayford. Taylor Donaldson, rather, will take a seat on the bench. So Donaldson out. Now Albany in the attack with Lily Phillips. Pass to the low block here for Deja Evans. Evans kicks it out to the near side wing, Lily Phillips. Phillips takes a dribble inside, hands off for Fatima Lee. Lee working inside here. Lee, tough shot, contested, but beautiful finish there for Fatima Lee. Taya Davis here in the backcourt for Fordham. Still a press from Albany. Flood back to the far side for Taya Davis. Davis double team. Davis, the Great Danes force the steal. Kayla Cooper back the other way. Matilda Flood defending. Cooper gets to the basket. Blocked away by Flood. The pass ahead in transition. And an easy lay-in for Amy Hayford. 16-15 Albany, under a minute to play in this first quarter.
Fordham getting caught victim to the trap initially, not letting that bog them down. Matilda Flood with an incredible block on the other end, leading to an easy bucket by Amy Hayford.
Sarah Carpel straight away here for the Great Danes. Gets the screen from Deja Evans, gets to the baseline, but Hayford, and it'll be a jump ball. Amy Hayford got her hands in there, would not let Carpel spin. Jump ball possession error in the direction of Fordham. They'll inbound underneath their own basket with 41.2 to go in this first quarter. It's Albany 16, Fordham 15. Taya Davis, pass ahead for Matilda Flood in the front court. And now Davis will settle things down with 33 to go in the first. Davis commanding the offense with 15 to shoot. Davis communicating with her teammates, now right in front of the Albany bench. The screen from Rose Nelson, 19 to go in the quarter, knocked away from Davis, but it comes to Rose Nelson, who can't finish at the basket. A rebound for Albany. Deja Evans came down with it. Sarah Carpel across the timeline with 7 seconds to play in the quarter. Carpel will step into a long two, I believe. No good. Rims out. 2 seconds. And that will do it for the first quarter here at the Rose Hill Gym. Albany 16, Fordham 15. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one scoreboard with Chris Persianen.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Welcome into the Rose Hill Studios. I'm Chris Persianen here with your scoreboard updates across the A10 women's basketball landscape. George Washington is here in New York City at Manhattan in the Bronx. Manhattan up 24-14 with 5 minutes left until halftime. UMass Lowell is playing at Rhode Island. Rhode Island up 57-22 after 3 quarters. A dominant performance there for them. And VCU playing at William and Mary. VCU up 10-9 with 4 minutes to go in that first quarter. Tonight in NBA action, it's the in-season tournament. 76ers are in Detroit, down 15-7. The Hornets are in Washington, down 15-5 to the Wizards. And in local action, the Nets are playing in Boston at 7:30 p.m. So that tip-off will be about 7:40. Dallas and Los Angeles Clippers playing later tonight as well. Some big games. And finally, Lakers Suns to cap off the night with some star power. Your one-on-one scoreboard update, I'm Chris Persianen.
Welcome back inside the Rose Hill Gym. Albany on top of Fordham 16-15 as we get set for the start of the second quarter. We'll send it over to the third member of our crew for the first time, Riley Lucas. Riley, what do you got?
Thanks, Nick. The second the first whistle blew, things got intense between the Rams and the Great Danes. On the sideline, Coach Bridget Miller really continues to harp on the strong presence UAlbany holds on the court. Due to this, these girls are going to have to be willing to get physical and really sacrifice their bodies out there. Moving forward, Coach believes the key pieces to winning this game are executing the push, defending the ball screens, and most importantly, locking down Albany's Tigerstrand. The Rams cannot afford to have her getting buckets all night. That's all from me. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Riley. 16-15 Great Danes here as we get ready for the start of the second quarter. It's been a really even first 10 minutes, Julia, back and forth. Tigerstrand getting some buckets for the Great Danes. Fordham doing some good work in transition, but Albany up by 1 heading into the second.
And I think what's so funny is that both teams are kind of coming out with the same game plan. Both pressing, both opting in for the under the basket shots rather than the threes. Albany obviously shooting more behind 3, 2 for 5. Fordham 1 for 2. Both of those 3-pointers coming in towards the end of the into the first quarter rather. So it's going to be interesting moving forward. Like when they have the same game plan, who's going to do it better?
It's definitely interesting to see. So the Great Danes on top by 1 heading into this second quarter. Fordham, as we mentioned, have an extremely quick turnaround coming. They play in Miami on Sunday, a team that was in the Elite 8 just a year ago. So that'll be a tough test, but right now the focus purely on this Albany team that's also 1-0 in the season, trying to improve to 2-0. This is an Albany team that also, in terms of non-conference scheduling, scheduled a lot of tough games. A couple of Atlantic 10 teams in their non-conference schedule. Same thing as they did last year, just trying to get good tests before America East play.
And this is also a team in UAlbany that barely beat Merrimack just a few days ago, so I know they're trying to put that behind them and get a dominating win tonight.
Just about set for the start of the second quarter here. The Rams and the Great Danes come back on the court. It will be UAlbany to inbound here on the near side for Team Elite will get it back in. Mandy McGurk is back on the court for Fordham as Taya Davis has checked out. This is Sarah Carpel now as we're underway in the second quarter. Carpel on the near side when gets to the baseline. Hounded there, but a steal from Matilda Flood. She's all alone. Flood with the finish. Another steal, more transition points for the Rams. They're on top 17-16 early in the second. Carpel here for Fordham. Or for Albany, rather. Sarah Carpel marked closely by Amy Hayford. Pass inside for Deja Evans. Back out to Carpel. Carpel gets to the basket. Carpel finished with the right hand. Beautiful move from Sarah Carpel.
Carpel shaking off that turnover just a second with a beautiful layup there in the paint.
Mandy McGurk on the far side, pass across the timeline to Rose Nelson. Nelson hounded by Albany defenders. Matilda Flood, the pass inside. Kayla Harris with the finish.
Unselfish basketball there. Matilda Flood had an open three. Pass it to an even opener. Amina Lee under the basket for an easy 2 points.
This is Sarah Carpel now again for Albany. The bounce pass inside for Deja Evans, marked closely by Kayla Harris. Evans to the corner. The three-pointer rattles home from Fatima Lee. 21-19 Albany, 8:40 to play in the second quarter. Mandy McGurk with Albany still in this half press of sorts. The pass goes across the timeline. McGurk can settle things down at the logo now for Fordham. Rose Nelson swings one to the near side for Matilda Flood. Top of the key was Harris, and a travel there against the Rams. And it'll be Albany basketball with 8:26 to go in the second.
And this has really been the thorn in the Fordham Rams side this game. And even last game, establishing that pivot foot, swinging out to the outside and just taking a step before putting the ball down.
Substitution for Albany. Lily Phillips checks back into the game. Deja Evans will take a seat on the bench. With the Great Danes leading Fordham by 2. Sarah Carpel across the timeline, dishes off for Heigerstrand. Now Cooper. Cooper top of the key. Cooper makes a move inside on Harris. Cooper gets to the rack. That one rims out. Rebound by Harris. In transition, it's Amy Hayford. Hayford gets to the basket with the left hand. Beautiful move from Amy Hayford. 21-21.
Amy Hayford's speed when she has the ball in her hands is absolutely insane. That's the fourth layup we've had where she dribbled it outside the three-point into the basket.
Sarah Carpel for Albany. Now Heigerstrand on the far side. Picks up her dribble. Hands off for Fatima Lee right in front of the Fordham bench. Lee, step back jumper from the mid-range. That's an air ball. Flood with the rebound. Albany pressure immediately. It'll be a foul against Albany. It was Cooper and Phillips hounding Flood.
It looks like Cooper had all ball, but then Lily Phillips came in and hit her on the hand before 20 could get the ball out of her hands.
Substitution here for the Rams. Mina Lee checks back into the game as Kayla Harris will check out. Rose Nelson inbound underneath into Mandy McGurk. Now Nelson is Albany back off. Matilda Flood. And now Mandy McGurk at the logo. Will pause. Now it's Rose Nelson to the far side for Matilda Flood. Back to the middle for Amy Hayford. Hayford makes another move to the rack with the left hand. Another beautiful finish from Amy Hayford. Rams up by 2, 23-21 with 7:17 to go in the second quarter. Sarah Carpel for Albany. Carpel, Flood read it perfectly. Matilda Flood with the steal. She gets to the basket. Flood can't finish. She was open, but she couldn't finish. Carpel back the other way for Albany. She'll slow things down. Heigerstrand open for three, and she knocks it down. 24-23 Great Danes. Mandy McGurk slowing things down for Fordham. McGurk inches across the timeline into the front court. Rose Nelson now. Straight away. Pass to the far side, Matilda Flood. Further into the corner for McGurk. Into the post for Mina Lee. Mina Lee going to work. Pass back out in front of the Albany bench for Hayford. Hayford looking for a look. It's Lee again in the post. Mina Lee, wild shot. It's a foul. And Mina Lee will go to the free throw line. Matilda Flood in that previous sequence doing everything but the finish. And Heigerstrand left open for three on the other end. So it's 24-23 Albany with 6:23 to go in the second quarter as Taya Davis checks back in for Mandy McGurk.
And on that Matilda Flood layup, she just picked up her ball too late into the drive. I mean, she was already right under the basket when she picked up the ball. Tried to still do her 3 steps for her layup and just got caught.
First free throw is perfect for Mina Lee. She's got 5 points on the day thus far. Amy Hayford leading the way for Fordham so far with 10. 6:23 to play in the second quarter. And Lee gets the second one to roll in as well. Rams back on top, 25-24. Carpel across the timeline for Albany. Defended by Amy Hayford. Carpel, pass to the right block. This is Kayla Cooper working against Miranda Nyborg. Cooper gets to the basket with her right hand. Blocked away by Fordham. The last touch off the Rams. Albany will inbound underneath. Taylor Donaldson back into the game for Fordham, as Amy Hayford will take a breather. They get it into Heigerstrand in the post against Nyborg. Kick back out for a three, and that's perfect from Megan Herter just on the court.
The double team from Heigerstrand there left her wide open for that three, showing there's so many players on this Albany team who can hit it from behind the arc.
Taya Davis for Fordham. Nyborg calling for it. Davis moves over to the far side. Lee calling for it in the post. Donaldson straight away now. Donaldson gets to the basket with her left hand. Donaldson to finish, and the foul. Strong finish from Taylor Donaldson. She'll have a chance to put Fordham back on top here with 5:39 to go in the second quarter.
And Fordham has done such a great job this game hitting contested layups. We've actually seen them miss more open layups than contested layups so far. That time gets the contact, gets the foul, gets the basket.
7 points so far on the day for Donaldson. Her first free throw attempt of the night. But it rims out. We're tied at 27 with 5:35 to play in this first half. Fatima Lee ahead for Albany. Lee. Hands off there for Herter. Herter to the far side now. Heigerstrand, she's open for three straight away. Off front rim, no good. To the ground goes Donaldson, fighting for the rebound, able to get it to Taya Davis, and Fordham can break back the other way. Davis into the front court will slow things down for Fordham on the logo. Davis still straight away. Swings it to the far side. Donaldson, step back three. Off front rim, no good. Matilda Flood glides in for the board. Flood puts it back up. No good, but Flood gets the board again. And Taya Davis at the logo for Fordham will slow things down. 13 on the shot clock after the two offensive rebounds from Flood. Davis, Lee, hands off for Davis on the far side. Now Taylor Donaldson back towards the middle. Donaldson crossed over at the free throw line. The tough lefty layup, no good. An offensive rebound from Lee, and it'll be a shot clock violation against the Rams. A long possession, but nothing comes from it. It's 27-27 here at the Rose Hill Gym between Fordham and New Albany with 4:27 to go in the second quarter. That will send us towards a media timeout. You're listening to Fordham women's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hey everyone, I'm Will Grant.
And I'm Chris Persianen.
And we're two of the hosts for WFUV's very own basketball podcast, Pick and Pod.
Tune in weekly for updates and our takes on the latest around the NBA, as well as exclusive insight from our very own Knicks and Nets beat reporters.
We'll have you covered on everything from all of the NBA's latest drama we know and love,
to debating all year long which team will get to lift that golden Larry O'Brien in June.
So don't miss a beat from the hardwood on WFUV's Pick and Pod.
Welcome back inside the Rose Hill Gym. Fordham and New Albany all squared up at 27 with 4:27 to play in the first half. Nick Guzman here alongside Julia Moss. And Julia, the score is 27-27, and it has been that close out there in this first half so far.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it better. I mean, as I said before, both teams kind of coming in with the same mindset, getting a big win in their first game, wanting to prove themselves in the second game. And what I've been most impressed by from Fordham is just disciplined basketball, rather. They only have one forced turnover from Albany. Albany only having one steal. Fordham already has 5 steals so far, 2 coming from Matilda Flood, a couple blocks added in there. I've liked what I've seen from Fordham so far, but as you said, it's still a tie game, so there's still room for improvement, and I think the biggest thing is just making those shots that are open.
You mentioned the lack of turnovers for Fordham. This is a team that turned the ball over 20 times in the opener against Adelphi. So if there was something that you can improve on in a 70-43 win, it was turning them all over less, and so far the Rams have done that.
Yeah, I mean, we talked so much about how they forced a lot of turnovers in that game, but we haven't really talked about, as you mentioned, the fact that they did turn it over so many times in that first game, but it seems that that's been patched up so far. Only 1 turnover, as we mentioned, so good sign for the Fordham Rams.
Amy Hayford leading the way for Fordham thus far with 10 points. Taylor Donaldson right behind her with 7, then Mina Lee with 6 from the center position. So Fordham getting production from a variety of different angles here, as they did in game number 1. But once again, it's Amy Hayford leading the way.
It's incredible how quick she is on the ball. She's not shooting a lot of jump shots, definitely not a lot of threes, but when she has the ball in her hand, she can drive it anywhere within a few seconds.
Either hand, too.
Exactly. She shot from both sides of the basket and made them on either side. So moving forward as they come out of this timeout, look for Amy Hayford, look for maybe a Rose Nelson or a Matilda Flood, who have been providing a lot on the defensive end but want to get them more active on the offensive end.
The 5 for Fordham coming out of this media timeout will be Hayford, Donaldson, Davis, Matilda Flood, and then Nina Lee rounding out the group for the Rams.
And I think another thing that's so important about the effort that we've seen is that there is no lineup that is official. They're still trying to figure out who's going to start in this team moving forward, so everyone is fighting for their spot on the court.
Coming out of the media timeout, Sarah Carpel crosses the timeline for UAlbany. Carpel watched closely by Taya Davis, now to the near side. Carpel inches towards the baseline, now cuts back to her left hand, towards the middle. Wild shot from Sarah Carpel, nowhere near, with the pass ahead for Mina Lee. No real intended target. It goes out of play on the far side. It'll be a turnover, and the ball right back with UAlbany with 4:09 to play in the second quarter.
Listen, I can't look bad after I just talked about how disciplined they've been. That was an unforced turnover. I've talked about forced turnovers from Albany, but Fordham has struggled with the open turnovers, if you will.
Kayla Cooper for Albany, hands off for Deja Evans. Now Fatima Lee, the pull-up jumper from mid-range. That's no good, off front rim. Fighting for the rebound was Rose Nelson with Heigerstrand. For Nelson, that's Abby Ray, on the court for the first time, number 24. It'll be Fordham possession underneath. Taya Davis will carry the ball into the front court for Fordham. 3:43 to go in the second quarter. Davis to her left hand, looking for an option. Hayford calling for it on the far side in front of the Albany bench. Still Davis with 9 to shoot. Now she finally kicks for Taylor Donaldson straight away. Donaldson, tough contested 3. No good, offside rim. Rebound Albany. Sarah Carpel can push ahead on the far side. Carpel looking to go quickly. Now Lee tries to get in the mid-range again. Pass into the post, looking for Cooper. Stolen away by Matilda Flood. And Davis into the front court for the Rams. 27-27, 3 minutes to play in the first half. Taya Davis at the Fordham logo. Another possession where Davis has been holding it for a while. 13 seconds to shoot. Donaldson now. Donaldson gets inside. That shot no good. Lee went up for the rebound. Last touch off of her. It'll be Albany possession.
On that possession, you could definitely see there was confusion on what play they were actually going to run. The past few plays, in fact, Taya Davis holding the ball a little too long, getting the play started a little too late. There were about 3 Fordham players on that right block, all looking confused on where they should go. Ugly possession there for Fordham.
Rose Nelson, Kayla Harris check back in for the Rams as Matilda Flood and Mina Lee take a seat on the bench. Sarah Carpel across the timeline for Albany with Taya Davis defending. Carpel gets the screen from Heigerstrand. She's open for 3. That one's no good. Bounced off the side rim. Rebound Amy Hayford, pushing back quickly the other way for Fordham. Hayford now peels away. Taya Davis straight away. Davis now retreats to the logo. Again commanding the offense with 17 to shoot. Davis. It's still Davis. Another possession where she's holding it for a while. Pass out to the far side for Amy Hayford now. Pass inside, beautiful for Rose Nelson. She finds Harris, who finishes beautifully. 29-27 Fordham. 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. Carpel gets past Davis, dishes off. The mid-range jumper's perfect from Kayla Cooper. And we're square at 29 again.
Every time Fordham tends to gain some momentum, Albany responds immediately.
Taya Davis again for Fordham across the timeline. Davis swings it to the near side for Amy Hayford. Hayford with her right hand this time, drives to the basket. Hayford, another tough layup, another tough finish. 31-29 Rams. 1:27 to play in the first half. Carpel with Taya Davis playing closely, and Taya Davis will get called for the foul.
I want to go back to that offensive possession from Fordham there for just a second. It just seems like Amy Hayford has some kind of magnetic connection from the basketball to the top of the square behind the basket. I mean, she just can't miss from under the basket so far here.
Abby Ray will inbound here on the near side. Ray gets it into Hagerstrand, working against Rose Nelson underneath the basket. The pass inside stolen away by Taylor Donaldson. Donaldson quickly ahead to Taya Davis. Tried the bounce pass inside. That'll be a kickball violation against Carpel as Davis tried to find Harris.
Listen, the vision there was really good. Davis was open under the basket. Took an acrobatic jump from the defender there to kick it out of bounds.
Amy Hayford will inbound on the near side. Now Taya Davis gets a screen from Rose Nelson. Davis, Hayford open for three. Bingo! Amy Hayford, this has been her first half. It's 34-29 Fordham. 1 minute to play in the first half. Sarah Carpel on the far side for Albany. Harris will get called for the foul.
I'm not much of a lip reader, but I could see Coach Mitchell on the sideline saying, why'd you have to do that? Because that was a pretty hefty foul there when Sarah Carpel was on the block at Fluggo just trying to go from one side to the other. Gets in her way and draws the foul.
15 points now for Amy Hayford to lead the Rams. 57 seconds ago, Fordham leads 34-29. Inbounding on the near side is Megan Herter. Gets into the near side corner for Hagerstrand, now into the post. In the post working, it's Kayla Cooper. Beautiful move from Cooper against Miranda Nyborg now on the court. 34-31 Rams. 43 seconds to play in the first half. Taya Davis into the front court. To the near corner, Taylor Donaldson. Straight away now. Amy Hayford, she went too quickly. It's a travel.
Amy Hayford proving she's human at least a little bit there. Got a little too excited on her drive. Took a step before putting the ball on the ground.
36.5 to go in the first half. It'll be Albany possession with the Rams up by 3. Matilda Flood back in the game here for the Rams. Taylor Donaldson will take a rest. 30 seconds to play. Sarah Carpel. And a whistle and another foul on Taya Davis playing aggressively against Carpel.
Well, if we learned anything from Albany's first matchup against Merrimack is that Sarah Carpel knows how to draw a foul. 2 quick ones there. Keep possession for Albany.
So it's Carpel with 25 to play in the half. 18 on the shot clock. Carpel against Davis. Carpel at the block F logo. 17 seconds to play. Still Carpel, the screen from Hagerstrand. Carpel, bounce pass inside for Cooper. Cooper kicks it back out to the far side. That one rattles home from Megan Herter. 7 seconds to play. Fordham have to go fast. We're all tied at 34. Taya Davis into the front court. 3 seconds. Davis, the step back three. Too strong. And that will end the first half. Fordham 34, Albany 34. An extremely tight one here at the Rose Hill Gym. But we'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one halftime with Jack Warner.
The one-on-one halftime report.
It is a chilly November night at Fordham's Rose Hill campus. Welcome in to the one-on-one halftime report. I am Jack Warner, joined alongside by none other than Chris Persianen. At the half, the score of tonight's matchup between the Fordham Rams and the Albany Great Danes is tied at 34. We will have a lot to break down from this first half, but not before we send it over to Chris Persianen for a one-on-one scoreboard.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Looking across the A10 women's basketball landscape, George Washington here in the Bronx at Manhattan. Manhattan up 28-23 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. UMass Lowell at Rhode Island getting pummeled. Rhode Island up 73-38 with a minute and a half left in that one. VCU at William and Mary, they're up 21-17 with 6 minutes left until halftime. Staying on the hardwood, but heading over to the NBA, it's the in-season tournament. 76ers are in Detroit down 33-21 at the end of the first quarter. Washington Wizards have a 34-25 lead with 10 minutes left in the second against the Hornets. And staying local, the Nets are about to tip off against the Celtics any moment now up in Beantown. Later tonight, it'll be the Clippers at the Mavericks, the Thunder at the Kings, and the Lakers at the Suns. Some exciting West Coast action in that in-season tournament. Stay tuned here on the One-on-One Scoreboard, where we'll keep you posted.
Now, Chris, basketball truly is a team game, but before we move too far into things, tonight does have a little more fun undertone to it as a familiar foe in Sarah Carpel making her return to Rose Hill Gymnasium, but this time not as a Fordham Ram, but instead a Albany Great Dane. And I want to start really quick with that. When we look at the sort of offensive scheme that Albany put out in the first half, you're seeing her field a little bit of a different role than she had at Fordham. She seems to be serving more as a facilitator and more of a playmaker, a lot of offensive production starting with her.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. I mean, here at Fordham, she had Asia Dingle, even Anna DeWolf tilting the floor for her. She was making reads out of those secondary actions, attacking the weak side, attacking an already tilted floor. Now for Albany, she seems to be in that primary playmaking role, so a little bit more offensive responsibility for her. And she was never really a shooter here at Fordham, but she was always a really keen passer. So her stat line makes sense. 4 assists, 2 turnovers. Fordham defense has been active and athletic so far, but Carpel is still making some good reads to teammates. On the other hand of things, though, 1 of 4 from the floor. 0 of 1 from 3. So Carpel, never a proficient scorer, but definitely a very intelligent basketball player. Someone who you just trust out there with the ball in her hands.
Now the scoreboard in a dead split, a 34-34 tie, already just in and of itself explains that this is a pretty back and forth, tight game, pretty even matchup between the two squads tonight. But even if you take a quick look at the stat breakdown, both teams are shooting around 50%. You got Fordham shooting 50% from the floor, 33% from three-point land. But if you look over on the Great Danes side, 46% from the floor, 54% from three-point land. Now, that is something that does need to be focused on in the second half for Fordham, because during pregame, when we got some coach sound from Coach Bridgette Mitchell, one of the things that she mentioned was how great the post presence is for this Albany team, that especially coming out of quarters, coming out of breaks, they are quick in transition to set something up in the post. And that is very true. You did see in the first half them trying to drive the paint, trying to get things done, down low. But when you have a team that attacks the paint like Albany does, but is seeing this sort of success from three-point land, like I said, shooting over 50% from beyond the arc, it does show that defensive intensity is going to be very important in the second half.
Well, Cooper and Hagerstrand are the two, post presences for Albany that are really strong offensively, and they've got 6 and 7 points respectively tonight. But you take a look at what Fordham has kind of forced Albany to do, and it's spray the ball outside. So Albany's taking those 3-pointers, right? Fatima Ali, 2 of 3 from downtown. You got Megan Herter, 2 of 2 from downtown. Now, do you expect maybe that over the course of the game that, will regress to the mean, and that those 100% and 60% marks will become 50 and 40? Sure, right? But what matters most is how those looks are happening. And I think right now Fordham's got to be happy with the defense they're playing, because especially in college basketball, I think you're more willing to live and die by the three-pointer than you are by easy looks inside. So if you're Bridgette Mitchell's Fordham Rams, I think you're happy with the shots you've been letting up so far. You just want to be quicker to rotate defensively. You want to make sure you're tight off the ball, and you're doing a good job of making sure that they're not getting easy looks from downtown. If they're going to get you from downtown, go ahead and let them, but they better be tough shots. They better be tough makes.
Now, leading the charge for the Fordham Rams, Emmy Hayford with 15 first half points. She's 6 for 7 from the field, 1 of 1 from three-point land, one of the main sort of offensive producers in the first half, both actually on both sides of the ball. But on top of that, truly making some good opportunities to get the ball in the hoop for Fordham. But again, I think with as closely matched as these two teams were in the first half, you honestly saw multiple missed opportunities on Fordham's half, missed layups, missed opportunities in transition. So as well as both of these teams have played leading up to this point, I think there were many things that Fordham, if it goes just a bit differently, this could be a different game at the half.
Yeah, the first thing I thought when you were going to look at the stat sheet and you're talking about the score being even was where the points were coming from. You take a look at Albany, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different players that have scored today. they've got 2 players with 6 points, 1 player with 7 points, 1 player with 8 points. Right? You take a look at the Fordham Rams. Well, all the scoring is between 5 players, and Matilda Flood and Kayla Harris have combined for 6 points. So Amy Hayford, 15 points. Donaldson, 7, Lee with 6. And those 3 are probably your most important offensive players, the 3 of them. And the reason why I wouldn't say a McGurk or even a Taya Davis, your most important offensive players, it's the roles that they fill. So Amy Hayford, the lead wing on the team, she kind of plays like a power forward, but fits in nicely at that 3 spot, gives them a little length as well.
Absolutely. She's
that initiator for them. She's that lead scoring option. Donaldson, the catch and shoot play finisher. So play finishers don't have to be bigs. Play finishers can be, you want to look at the WNBA, you could say someone like Maureen Johannes plays in the play finishing role for the Liberty because she catches and shoots those 3-pointers, right? So Donaldson is a play finisher for this Rams team, knocking down those shots from outside. And then Lee, of course, the presence down low, getting a lot of second chance points this season already. You see she has 2 offensive rebounds tonight, and that's just a nice start for her in the first half. You look at points off turnovers, I think that's a little bit of I think it shows more in the fast break points. So points off turnovers, Fordham 13-9, but in the fast break points, Fordham 10-3. That's really where I'm looking right now. Fordham getting easy buckets, and I think that can translate into the second half. UAlbany picks it up. They tighten the effort a little bit. Well, then maybe they won't make as many shots. Something might give for them. Fordham, I actually like their approach to the start of this game, just playing a ground and pound style. Okay, they've taken some threes. Donaldson's taken 3, but Hayford 1 of 1, Donaldson 1 for 3. Fordham really not taking a lot of threes. They have not attempted more than 6. So it's 6 threes taken for them. And that's a nice number to start to be in a tie situation because you keep creating plays. Now they got to double Hayford probably, right? You think they come out of the half doubling Hayford? What do you think?
I think considering that it's not even close.
6 of 7 from the floor.
Well, 6 of 7 for the floor and makes up just south of half of the team's points in the first half.
Yeah,
so I can't see any reason against doubling.
If they come out doubling Amy Hayford, then Donaldson and McGurk are going to be able to thrive from 3-point land. So for Fordham, it's really just about keeping it rolling, making sure that you're getting the ball to the open woman and that you're making your shots because Albany's been making their shots.
Absolutely.
And it's still a tie game. Fordham playing really nicely, especially in transition.
And I think as we wrap up this one-on-one halftime report, I do think one of the main things Fordham also needs to focus on, just to bring home a dub in this second half, I think we need to see a emphasis on just a clean, disciplined half of basketball. Again, I cite back to Coach Bridgette's pregame sound before tip-off, where one of the other things she mentioned was they wanted to have a big emphasis on playing a physical brand of defense without getting in foul trouble. And for a majority of the half, that was the case. They were playing very clean. For the most part, were staying out of foul trouble. They have 6 personal fouls at the half, and again they kept the foul tally low for majority of the half, but then you saw Taya Davis and Kalia Harris 2 quick fouls right as we're heading into halftime. You don't want to give a team that has shown that they can shoot the ball free throws because a good team will capitalize on that. You don't want to be handing points away and making sure that they take better care of the ball. They're coming off a season opener where they turned the ball over 20 times against a Division II opponent in Adelphi. So you want to make sure in the second half that we're seeing a more disciplined brand of basketball for these Fordham Rams. 2
teams that have taken 28 shots tonight, which is really convenient for me because I get to look at this shot chart and show you that really Albany has taken so many more 3-pointers. Look at this. Look how many more threes they've taken than Fordham. Fordham only 6 shots from beyond the arc. Albany all these attempts from down there. So Fordham, keep grounding and pounding inside. Keep spinning and winning with Amina Lee. I mean, just get in there and do your damage in the paint because it's working so far. And guess what? You want to talk football? Well, you establish the run. It opens up the deep ball. Fordham pounds inside. They're going to be able to start hitting threes. McGurk, Donaldson thriving off those kickouts.
That will just about wrap it up for this one-on-one halftime report. We will send it back to the Rose Hill Gym where Julia Moss and Nick Guzman will have you covered the rest of the way.
Welcome back inside the Rose Hill Gym. We're just about ready for the start of the second half between Fordham and Albany, all tied up at 34. We're going to send it over to our sideline reporter, Riley Lucas, one more time. Riley, what do you got?
Well, Nick, the game plan for the Rams to come out on top is ultimately the same. To play against these dogs, you got to post up like a dog. Coach Miller continued to stress Albany's love for keeping the ball inside, so it's very important the Rams dominate the paint and stay aggressive. On top of this, Fordham absolutely cannot lose any more 50-50 balls. The whole coaching staff was proud of the girls' communication and strong rebounding, but won't be satisfied till those easy shots go in. With a tie score of 34-34, this next half should be nothing short than interesting. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Riley. 34-34, Fordham and Albany really locked in a tight one here as we get ready to start the second half. Nick Guzman here alongside Julia Moss. And Julia, a lot of talking points to discuss about that first half. I think the biggest one that I want to focus on is Amy Hayford and just being the star of the show with 15 points for these Rams.
Two for two from the free throw line. I mean, she's shown that she can do it pretty much anywhere so far.
And on the other side for Albany, in terms of three-point shooting for both these teams, Albany have taken 11 three-pointers, as the guys mentioned at the break. Fordham just 6, but Albany shooting 54.5% from beyond the arc. That's 6 for 11, while Fordham are 2 for 6 at 33%. But, Julie, it's been really just tight all the way through. Defensively, we saw both teams pressing a lot early, but as the half wore on, it's sort of the press on both sides sort of sagged off a little bit, and I think that's just because it's hard to keep up a full-court press of that intensity for that long.
And I know it's a tie game right now, but if you just look at the stats for Fordham's defense compared to Albany's, I mean, it really leans in towards the Fordham players. 7 steals so far compared to Albany, still sitting at just 1 steal so far in this matchup. But what's killed Fordham and really evened out this matchup is the unforced turnovers, the errant passes, the travels that we've seen quite a few times. If they can just clean that up and really take advantage of the fact that Albany hasn't been able to make them turn the ball over, that would help them so much.
And it's 9 turnovers for each side. On the Fordham side of things also, Taya Davis, it's been her first action as a Fordham Ram leading the offense. There's been a couple moments where it seemed like there's been some miscommunication offensively with Davis leading the way, but I'm sure that's something that will come more smoothly with time.
Taya Davis has shown that she's very patient, maybe a little too patient, because we've seen when she's leading the ball up the court, they actually get the play going way late in the shot clock, and that's led to some of those, errant passes, as I mentioned, contested shots, low quality shots. So I think the one thing Taya Davis can do is channel that patience into something else, maybe getting the ball out of her hands just a little bit quicker, getting the play call out there. I don't know if that's just a fact that it's a new play they're trying and they're not sure of what to do, but get back to what they know, get the play going a little earlier so they can get some high quality shots.
All time, Fordham are 5-2 against Albany. The last game was a 71-42 win for the Rams in the 2020-21 season. But on the Albany side of things, there's been balanced scoring pretty much all the way through. No Albany players in double digits for them. But you've got Lee with 8, you've got Hagerstrand with 7, you've got Cooper with 6, really spreading the wealth offensively for Albany.
And Hagerstrand had a very strong stretch there in the middle of the second quarter. And I'm honestly shocked to see she only has 7 points. Her presence on that offensive end has been really strong in ways that don't show up on the stat book, but I'm sure Albany would like to get the ball in her hands a little bit more and get some shots up from her because she is so killer from behind the arc.
We haven't seen quite as much of the Fordham bench in this game as we did in the opener against Adelphi, which is to be expected, but still, some key pieces like Kayla Harris and Taya Davis have come off the bench and really had positive impacts in this game. And I think depth it's something that we're going to continue to see throughout this season.
Especially if you're planning on pressing going into the second half, you're going to have to dig deep into your rotation, and that's something obviously Coach Bridgette Mitchell is not scared to do. You mentioned Kayla Harris. She has only played 7 minutes, but has made those minutes count, going 2 for 2, 4 points, and being a really strong presence on the interior side, on offense and on defense. She's had a couple of good defensive bouts, and then on the offensive end, being able to post up against the other team's tallest player and still somehow manage to score.
We're approaching the start of the second half here at the Rose Hill Gym. It's Fordham 34, Albany 34. As you hear the buzzer sound, both teams about ready to break their huddles and get back on the court for the final 20 minutes of action. Both teams trying to make it 2 wins to start the season. Fordham and their 5 will huddle up before taking the court here.
And I'm sure for Fordham, looking ahead, you don't want to look too far ahead. You're playing a game right now. Obviously, all of the momentum and all of the focus is on Albany at this moment, but they have a very, very tough matchup against Miami in just 2 days. I'm sure they'd rather go into that matchup 2-0 rather than 1-1.
Albany will inbound on the near side to get us started. It's into Sarah Carpel, and we're underway in the second half. Carpel into the front court as Albany now attack from right to left, wearing purple. Deja Evans here for Albany. To the far side now into the post here for Kayla Cooper. Cooper drives in. It's an offensive foul. Drawing the charge is Taylor Donaldson. Fordham possession with 15 seconds gone here in the second half.
And those are the extra possessions that are going to break the tie here, really break momentum, and Fordham did an excellent job there.
For Fordham, it's the same five as they started the game with, as Taylor Donaldson on the far side in front of the bench. Now Mandy McGurk at the Block F logo. It's Donaldson, Hayford, McGurk, Nelson, and Lee. Rose Nelson here at the top of the key. Nelson to his near side wing for Mandy McGurk. McGurk circles to the middle, now pass to the far side. The three from Donaldson, off the rim, no good. Rebound there from Deja Evans. Sarah Carpel streaking up the far side into the front court. Carpel to the basket. She gets underneath. Her reverse layup, no good. Mina Lee met her right there. Mandy McGurk quickly back the other way. McGurk to the far corner for Taylor Donaldson. Donaldson back to the middle for Mandy McGurk. McGurk swings it to the near side here, Amy Hayford. Hayford gets a screen from Lee, moves back to the middle. Swung to the far side. From the free throw line, that's Taylor Donaldson. In and out, no good. Rebound by Cooper and Carpel across the timeline for the Great Danes. Cooper now to the near side wing for Hagerstrand. Pass inside. Good hands there for Amy Hayford to poke it away. Last touch off her. We're still tied at 34 with 8:30 to go in the third quarter. Albany will inbound underneath. An early substitution here for the Rams. Mina Lee will check out. Kayla Harris into the game for Fordham. Carpel inbounds underneath the basket. And an offensive foul against Albany. Believe that's against Kayla Cooper. And it will be Fordham basketball.
Fordham once again able to force turnovers from Albany, but now what matters is being able to turn those turnovers into some points.
Rose Nelson will inbound underneath the basket for Fordham. Now Mandy McGurk in the backcourt. With a press going on here from Albany. Nelson, pass up the far side for Taylor Donaldson. Now in front of the Fordham bench. Rose Nelson, Mandy McGurk will slow things down in the front court. To the near side for Amy Hayford. Near side wing, Hayford gets to the middle. Hayford tries to get inside. Her shot blocked away by Hagerstrand. Fordham will keep it underneath their own basket. 8:12 to play in the third quarter, still tied at 34. Rose Nelson with 10 to shoot at the right elbow. Nelson hands off for Donaldson. Donaldson gets inside. Tough jumper, no good. And rebound for Albany. Sarah Carpel with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. Carpel straight away for the Great Danes. Pass to the far corner here, Fatima Lee on the court for the Great Danes. Lee, back up top for Carpel. Commanding the offense with 10 to shoot. Carpel swings it to the top of the key there for Deja Evans. Now to this near side for Lily Phillips. They've got 5 to shoot. Hagerstrand into the post. Good positioning, the finish, and the foul for Deja Evans. Got that inside positioning on Harris. And Evans will go to the free throw line to try to complete the three-point play.
Kayla Evans simply getting beat under the basket there. Found herself away from the rim instead of on the other side of Deja. Really unfortunate play there by Fordham. 2 free throws, or 1 free throw rather. She made the basket for the and one opportunity.
And Evans completes the three-point play. Albany on top 37-34 with 7:36 to play in the third quarter. Mandy McGurk will carry it into the front court for the Rams, the Block F logo. McGurk swings the pass here to the near side. Hayford is open. She'll drive to the lane. Almost too good to be true. She kicks back out for Harris. Her mid-range jumper rattles in. The Rams cut the lead down to 1. 7:15 to go in the third quarter. Sarah Carpel going quickly for Albany. Beautiful bounce pass inside for Deja Evans. Sarah Carpel, a beautiful feed. 39-36 Albany. Mandy McGurk once again for the Rams at the Block F logo. To the near side here for Taylor Donaldson. Donaldson back towards the middle. She gets to the basket, kick out to the far wing. Amy Hayford goes behind the back. Hayford with the left hand. Can't finish. She draws the foul. And Amy Hayford will go to the free throw line and shoot 2. But showing off her bag of tricks there.
Listen, if Fordham can keep driving in under the basket, Albany has shown that they would rather foul than give Amy Hayford a wide open basket for good reason, as we've seen. So great on Amy Hayford to get a shot up there. Was it the highest quality shot? No, but it really feels like her intention there was to draw a foul and maybe get a bucket as well.
Matilda Flood and Taya Davis check into the game for the Rams. Rose Nelson, Mandy McGurk will take a seat on the bench. 2 shots here for Amy Hayford. First one off front rim, rolls in. Point number 16 for Hayford on the day to lead all scorers here. The second rattles home as well for Amy Hayford. Carpel in the backcourt, no press here for Fordham at all. They'll get back in their zone defense. Hagerstrand straight away. Lily Phillips, bounce pass, top of the key, now swung to the near side. Sarah Carpel open for 3. She knocks it down. Sarah Carpel, what a homecoming it's turning out to be for her. 42-38 UAlbany. 6:25 to play in the third quarter. Taya Davis hands off to Amy Hayford. She'll take a 3 on the far wing. That's perfect. Rams back within 1.
We thought that 18-point first performance was good. It's only 6 minutes to go until the end of the third, and she's already up to 17 in this one.
Carpel here for Fordham, or for Albany rather. Kicks out Hagerstrand. She'll take the 3. That rims out. Donaldson fights for the rebound. She's got it. Fordham will try to play in transition. Donaldson to the near corner. Hayford gets to the basket again with the left hand. Amy Hayford with the finish again. 43-42 Fordham, 5:45 to play in the third quarter. And Albany will call timeout. The Rams on top, 43-42 with 5:43 to play in this third quarter. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios. You're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Lou Orlando.
And I'm Colin Loughran.
And we're 2 of your main hosts for WFUV Sports' NHL podcast, 5 on 3.
We'll keep you updated on the Rangers, Islanders, Devils, and of course, the Stanley Cup Final.
Home ice for all things NHL, 5 on 3.
Welcome back inside the Rose Hill Gym with 5:43 to go in the third quarter. Fordham with a slim 43-42 lead over UAlbany. Julie, I feel like we've said it coming out of almost every media timeout, but this game is so close on both ends. We've seen Sarah Carpel do some pretty cool things in her return here to the Rose Hill Gym.
And we're seeing Fordham's defense being really relaxed on Sarah Carpel, pretty much daring her to shoot from the 3. And if you saw anything in that last game, that is not a good idea for this, I guess, new look Sarah Carpel, who shoots the lights out of the ball, nailing that 3 there. But on Fordham's side, it has really become the Amy Hayford show. She's up to 22 points in this one, and we're not even done with the third quarter. And if you ask who is the next leading scorer, it's definitely not anywhere close to 22. It's Taylor Donaldson with 7. So it's become clear Amy Hayford is their primary choice for leading the offense, getting points, and making buckets.
We mentioned the balanced scoring in the first game against Adelphi, even for most of that first half, but here in the third quarter, Hayford being that primary scorer for the Rams. But defensively, we've seen Fordham come out in a zone, which Coach B told us before the game they might test out a little bit. They tested only on a few possessions against Adelphi, but here it was in that zone that left Carpel open in the corner for a 3.
I mean, this is a new team. They are playing only their second game together. You're going to have to try out things, see what works, see what doesn't work, and unfortunately that's going to have to come in real game situations. So you got to take the bad with the good. Hopefully they learned their lesson there that maybe we shouldn't leave Sarah Carpel wide open on the left-hand 3, but we've seen stuff that does work though, and that is when they decide to press and they really put their all into that press. Albany has shown that they can get frazzled really, really easily, but really focusing on maybe improving that zone rather than abandoning it altogether, just playing a little closer on Sarah Carpel, not letting her get those open shots.
Yeah, we've seen a lot less of that press as this game has gone on, especially compared to the first game against Adelphi. And it's hard to keep up that level of commitment in terms of a press for a long extended period of time. But I think Coach B also is just wanting to test out the different looks that she can go with depending on matchups this season.
I mean, everything about this team is totally in flux. When you have a mass influx of transfers, new players who have never played together, you're going to have to, as I said, you're going to have to try new things out, and that includes offensive plays, which kind of might explain why we saw a lot of confusion there. All these players learning a whole new offense, a whole new defense. So, as I said before, you have to take the bad with the good. Just making sure you take notes on what doesn't work and try and correct it in the future.
Coming out of the timeout, it will be Albany possession in front of their own bench. The Rams leading 43-42 with 5:43 to go in the third quarter. Megan Herder will inbound it for the Great Danes. The Rams up by 1. We're set to go here coming out of the timeout. Herder gets it in there for Hagestrom. Into the post, looking for Cooper. Poked away by Matilda Flood. Last touch off of Flood. So it'll stay with Albany underneath the basket.
Matilda Flood got caught in less than desirable defensive positioning there. Able to make the jump, though, and knock it out of bounds.
Herder gets it into Cooper. Flood defending her closely. Cooper to the baseline. Cooper the tough shot. And it'll be a foul there against Matilda Flood. And Kayla Cooper will shoot 2 at the free throw line.
Matilda Flood laughing after that one. Her hands were straight up, and I know, our vantage point is not as good as the referees, but that foul, maybe not the best call.
Kayla Cooper, first team All-America East last year, led a team in scoring with 15.2 points per game as she knocks down her first free throw to level us up at 43. Also named to the America East All-Tournament team last season as well. Cooper makes both. It's 44-43 Albany. Amy Hayford with a turnover. Fordham trying to go fast. Hayford turns the ball over, and Sarah Carpel can carry into the front court for Albany. Carpel with Hayford defending. Now on the right wing, Sarah Carpel. Into the far side corner. Herder, now Hagestrand. To the near side, the three-pointer off front rim for Fatima Lee. Rebound by Matilda Flood, who can push it in transition for the Rams. Flood now will circle back. Amy Hayford on this near side wing into the post for Mina Lee back on the court. Lee kicks back out for Taya Davis, who will pause the Block F logo. 15 seconds to shoot. Davis to the near side wing for Amy Hayford. The screen from Lee. Hayford now straight away. Back to the near corner for Flood. Into the post. Mina Lee with the finish. Beautiful passing from the Rams. They're up 45-44 with 4:40 to go in the third quarter. Carpel now in the front court for Albany. Gets the screen from Hagestrand. Carpel now doubled. Open in the corner is Herder. The pass was high. Donaldson now able to defend. Into the post for Hagestrand. Poked away by Matilda Flood. Flood back the other way in transition. Flood will slow things up. Now she gets inside with the left hand. Out of play. Last touch off Albany. With 4:15 to play in the third quarter. And a timeout on the floor. 45-44 Rams with 4:15 to play in the third quarter. You're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
What's up, everyone? I'm Danny Scott.
I'm Tyler Hu, and we're two of your hosts for WFUV's College Gridiron.
We'll discuss all the best games from around the world of college football.
We'll also talk about the rankings and give our thoughts on the Heisman race.
We'll preview the best games of next week and give our score predictions.
Keenan Troy and other co-hosts will join us as well.
Tune in to College Gridiron wherever you get your podcast.
Welcome back inside the Rose Hill Gym. Fordham with a slim 45-44 lead over Albany with 4:15 to play in the third quarter. Nick Guzman here alongside Julia Moss as we get set to come out of his media timeout. But in terms of what we've seen out there in this third quarter, it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
100%. And something that we're seeing now, we're starting to see more of as this third quarter progresses, is that defensive intensity we saw a lot in their first matchup, specifically with Matilda Flood. It's every time she's marking someone and the ball gets to her, it's just absolute defensive tenacity. She's up to 4 steals in this one and showing no sign of stopping. And what impresses me most is that after she gets the steal, she'll lead the fast break herself and turn defense into offense all by herself.
It seems like transition play is going to be a big theme for Fordham this season. And you talk about limiting the turnovers and being able to force them so far in this third quarter. 2 turnovers forced by Fordham against UAlbany and no turnovers for the Rams.
And that's something Coach Mitchell has stressed time after time after time. Defensive intensity, but also offensive intensity, being fast on both sides of the floor. And that battle is really won in the transition. So if Fordham can do a little bit of a better job of turning those turnovers into points, this 1-point lead could balloon really quickly.
And Amy Hayford's done the bulk of the scoring for the Rams with 22 points. Is this a situation where Fordham needs to find some secondary points, or is it okay to kind of let Hayford sort of take the reins here because she's been so incredibly effective out there, 8 of 10 shooting?
I mean, of course you want other players to get involved in the offense, but at this point, if it works, it works. And right now they're up by 1 with half of their points being scored by Amy Hayford. So if it's working, keep going with it. Amy Hayford's having an incredible game. Feed the hot hand and hope it works.
4:15 to play in the third quarter as we're coming out of this media timeout. The Rams on top of UAlbany, 45-44. Coming out of the timeout will be Fordham basketball underneath the basket in the front court for the Rams.
And we talk a lot about who's going to be starting on this team moving forward. And in that first game, Mandy McGurk got a lot of minutes. But so far it's been Taya Davis in her first game back since not being able to play in that opener. Definitely a lot to learn there. Taya Davis getting a lot more minutes than Mandy McGurk in this one.
Taya Davis will inbound for Fordham underneath the basket. Davis gets into Lee, and now Davis again circling around, now top of the key. To the near side for Taylor Donaldson. Donaldson swings it to the near side wing for Amy Hayford. Hayford again with a burst of speed towards the baseline. Back out to Donaldson on the outside. Donaldson gets inside. Donaldson can't finish. He had an open look. Now fighting for the rebound. And good work there from Megan Herter to secure the board for the Great Danes. Now Sarah Carpel into the front court for the Rams. 3:45 to play in the third quarter. Carpel marked closely by Amy Hayford. Fordham back in a man-to-man defense here. Herter on this near side wing. Herter crossed over to her left hand towards the baseline. Watched closely there by Taya Davis. The mid-range jumper. Lee with the block. Lee right there now fighting for it, and it gets to Flood, and Fordham can break in transition. Matilda Flood to the far corner. Amy Hayford. Now Taya Davis at the Block F logo. 3:08 to play in the third quarter, 45-44 Rams. 11 to shoot. Davis hands off for Taylor Donaldson straight away. To the near side, Amy Hayford burst of speed to the baseline. Hayford blocked away. Deja Evans with the rejection. And Carpel across the timeline for Albany. Carpel circles around, and a foul there against Matilda Flood. Another foul drawn by Sarah Carpel with 2:48 to play in the third quarter.
Sarah Carpel driving baseline, looking for the basket. Fortunately for her, got fouled before she even had to take a shot.
So Mina Lee, after blocking that jump shot, will check out. Miranda Nyborg back in the game. Nyborg only 5 minutes so far in this one. Carpel inbounds underneath into the corner for Hagerstrand. Into the post here for Evans. Evans, great defense there from Miranda Nyborg. Last touch off of Nyborg, though, so it'll stay with UAlbany underneath the basket.
Nyborg coming off a 3-block game, leading the Fordham Rams on the defensive end. And she was also guarding Adelphi's best player. Another block there here in this one.
Kayla Cooper on the far side. Megan Herter lines up the corner three. That's no good. Rims out. To the ground they go. Amy Hayford fighting for it, and it squeaks free to Taya Davis, who can lead the break for the Rams. Davis gets to the basket. Davis with the right hand. Shot off the backboard. No good. Last touch off of UAlbany. Fordham basketball.
Definitely better shots there than what Taya Davis chose. A lot of open players for Fordham, but luckily Fordham keeps possession.
Matilda Flood now at the left block. Hayford circles around in the lane. Behind the back, Hayford goes. Outside for Taya Davis on the far wing. Davis now circles back with 13 to shoot, all the way to the Block F logo. Now 8 to shoot, Taya Davis. Nyborg sets the screen. Davis pulls up in the mid-range, dishes off for Nyborg. Davis with 3 seconds gets to the basket, pass inside for Nyborg, who lays it up and in. 47-44 Rams, 2 minutes to play in the third quarter. Sarah Carpel at the logo. Watched closely by Amy Hayford as Carpel commands the offense. Carpel gets the screen, gets inside to her right hand towards the baseline, circling around in the lane. Carpel threw one inside looking for Evans. Last touch off of Deja Evans, Fordham basketball. 1:38 to play in the third quarter. Fordham leads by 3. Taya Davis and Coach Bridgette Mitchell will call a timeout with 1:34 to go in this third quarter. Fordham 47, Albany 44. You're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
What's up, everyone? I'm Julia Moss, one of the hosts of WFUV's women's sports podcasts, All In. Join us each week as we break down everything from the WNBA, women's collegiate sports, the NWSL, and so much more. We're also joined by recurring hosts including Maddie Bamonte, Taylor Masetta, Sam Boer, and Annabelle Watson. All In is a production of WFUV Sports.
We're back here inside the Rose Hill Gym with 1:34 to play in the third quarter. Fordham 47, Albany 44 as Coach B calls the timeout. We're just about set to get out of that timeout. But 3-point lead seems sort of monumental in what has been a really back and forth game between Fordham and Albany.
I feel like for the past 30 minutes this has been going back and forth between a 1-point lead. So 3 points might not seem like a lot, but that's a full possession at this point, and that's a bigger lead than what we've seen in quite some time.
So it'll be Fordham basketball. They'll inbound on the far side in front of the scorer's table. And Flood gets it into Taya Davis. The Rams lead by 3 with 1:30 to play in the third quarter. Taya Davis commanding the offense straight away. Now looks like Albany are in his zone. As Miranda Nyborg sets the screen, Davis into the corner. Amy Hayford has some space. She fires for 3, misses off front rim. And Sarah Carpel can gather for Albany. Carpel on the front court. Hagastrand for Deja Evans. Now Hagastrand straight away. Evans top of the key. She hands off. Megan Herter. Herter now on the far side. Another handoff for Hagastrand into the post for Deja Evans. Evans against Nyborg. Nyborg with the good defense. Hayford took a spill. No call. Open for 3 and draining it is Megan Herter. We're all tied at 47 with 50 seconds to play in the third.
What a chaotic possession right there. We saw Fordham players flying, leading to a wide open 3. Nailed tie game.
Taylor Donaldson here on the near side wing with 39 seconds to play in the third quarter. Taya Davis slows things down the Block F logo. 15 seconds to shoot for the Rams. On the far side in front of the Fordham bench is Amy Hayford. Taylor Donaldson in the corner 3. Off back rim, no good. Albany with the rebound through Kayla Cooper. Shot clock turned off as Carpel crosses the timeline with 18 seconds to play. Carpel watched closely by Hayford as the Great Danes will hold for the last shot. 10 seconds. Hayford took a bump there from Carpel. 7 seconds. Carpel with the left hand gets to the baseline. 5 seconds. Carpel, the wild hook shot, no good. Poked away by Flood. It's out of bounds. Albany possession with 1:8 to play in the third quarter.
Fordham adjusting well on how to defend Sarah Carpel without fouling. If you just don't foul her, the shots she puts up typically, especially under the basket, are very low quality, low percentage shots, and saw it there.
Gonna have to be a quick catch and shoot here with 1:8. They get it in here. They tried to hand it back for Herter. Last touch off her, some miscommunication. And it will be Fordham possession with 0.3 still left on the clock in the third quarter, with Fordham way in the backcourt. Flood will heave one to the front court. Lee spins. She didn't get it off in time. And the ball gets jammed in between the rim and the backboard. But that will do it for the third quarter here at the Rose Hill Gym. All tied up between Fordham and Albany. It's 47-47. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one scoreboard with Chris Persianen.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Thanks, Nick. Looking at A10 women's basketball action, it's GW in the Bronx down 26-20 to Manhattan with 9 minutes and 31 seconds left in the third quarter. URI took down UMass Lowell 78-38 in an absolute rout, a 50-point margin of victory, and VCU taking a nice lead over William & Mary 50-34 with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. There's a media timeout there now. Over in the NBA, it's the in-season tournament. The Pistons are up 56-48 over the Philadelphia 76ers at halftime. The Wizards up 65-59 over the Hornets in the third. The Celtics are up 44-38 over Brooklyn halfway through the second quarter. Pelicans and Rockets are going at it. New Orleans up 15-11, and the Timberwolves and Spurs just tipped off in San Antonio. We'll keep you posted on how that one goes. Thanks for tuning in to your one-on-one scoreboard update.
47-47 between Fordham and Albany. 10 minutes on the clock as we get ready to start here the fourth quarter at the Rose Hill Gym. Nick Guzman here alongside Julia Moss. It's been a back-and-forth game all day, but Julia, some former Fordham players in attendance here tonight.
Listen, Sarah Carpel's back in the Rose Hill Gym playing Fordham. It's going to draw a bit of a crowd of familiar faces we've seen in the past, and that it has. We talk about how there's so many transfers. Some of them coming back for this game. We see Fordham player of last season, Faith Pappas, a couple graduates, and Caitlin Downey and Meg Jonathan. Even the Fordham videographer of last year, Laura DiMartino. So a lot of familiar faces who have left Fordham since last season, but making their return tonight to support whether it be the Rams or Sarah Carpel in attendance tonight.
It's a new team, but good to see some familiar faces back in the Rose Hill Gym. It's 47-47 as we get ready to start the fourth quarter here. It's been back and forth all day. Amy Hayford leading the way for the Rams with 22 points. But we saw Fordham come out with a little bit of a zone at times in that third quarter. Then Albany only for a possession or two in that zone. And they got a miss on the three-pointer in the corner. But interesting to see both teams testing out different defensive schemes here early in the season.
And specifically with Fordham, they're kind of leaning into the things they need to work on. You see them shooting three-pointers, which has not worked today. You see them running the zone when the press really has worked better. You got to balance working through the things that you're not doing well versus focusing on the things you are doing well. It's a tie game right now. We're going into the fourth quarter. If you ask me, they need to press and they need to work the inside because that's what's been working so far.
And in her homecoming back to the Rose Hill Gym, Sarah Carpel with 5 points, but 5 assists. She's really been that facilitator that we saw her be for 4 years here at Rose Hill. But 5 points for her, 5 assists, 3 turnovers to go along with it. Fordham have done well to force some miscues on the Albany side of things. But in a tie game, what does Fordham need to do well in this fourth quarter to make sure they secure this win?
Take high-quality shots. Take high-percentage shots. The three ball has not been working. You're 3 for 10 from beyond the arc, and 2 of those 3 have come from Amy Hayford, who is by and far the best player on this court right now. So take advantage of those mismatches in the post, take some high-quality shots, and run a press.
So 10 minutes to play here, 10 minutes on the clock, fourth quarter underway in a 47-47 game between Fordham and Albany. Taya Davis with it for the Rams. Mandy McGurk now at the Block F logo, swings it to the far side for Amy Hayford. McGurk, Taya Davis now on the near side. All the way to the far wing for Mandy McGurk. McGurk now back towards the middle, bounce pass into the lane, looking for Matilda Flood. It'll be a kick ball. And Fordham possession in front of their own bench. Check that underneath the basket. Fordham will take it. It'll be Davis to inbound for the Rams. Davis into the corner looking for Mandy McGurk. Pass was a little short. McGurk able to recover. Swings it back up top for Amy Hayford at the Block F logo. 10 to shoot for the Rams. Hayford makes her move with the right hand. Hayford, the step back three. No good. Air ball. Matilda Flood fighting for the board. Last touch off her. Albany possession with 9:26 to play in the fourth quarter.
Amy Hayford having a rough stretch here. I know I said we should give the ball just to Amy Hayford, but maybe not the best option anymore.
Carpel hands off there for Lily Phillips back on the court for Albany. Now straight away it's Megan Herter to the near side corner for Phillips. Hagestrom calling for it in the post. Now this is Deja Evans to the far wing. Herter on her left hand, backing down against Amy Hayford. Herter pass inside, stolen away by Kayla Harris. Taya Davis leads the break the other way for Fordham. Davis, top of the key, will now retreat back to the logo. Davis to the far side. Amy Hayford. Hayford gets to the lane. Pass to the near wing, Mandy McGurk. That's nowhere close. Rebound by Albany. Sarah Carpel in transition. Carpel attacking at Davis. Throws one up. No good. Rebound by Hagastrand. Herder. Thought about a three. Now Hagastrand in the corner. But Herder, Fordham do a good job there closing out. Carpel now at the logo will pause with 12 to shoot. Carpel against Taya Davis. Davis playing her tight. Carpel gets inside. That shot no good. Offensive foul. Harris drew the charge. With 8:20 to play in the fourth quarter, we're still tied at 47.
And we have gone 2 minutes and 20 seconds without either team scoring. Fordham even longer, 3 minutes 28. They have a prime opportunity now off the offensive foul to finally get some points on the board.
Taylor Donaldson and Mina Lee will check back in for Mandy McGurk and Kayla Harris as Taya Davis will cross the timeline for the Rams. Davis, Albany back in a zone. Straight away Donaldson to the far wing for Amy Hayford. Davis to the top of the key, Mina Lee. Lee into the post for Nelson, back up top for Taya Davis. She'll try the three, no good. Didn't even hit the rim. Rebound there for Kayla Cooper. Fatima Lee leading the offense now for UAlbany. Lee on the far side in front of her own bench. Pass up top straight away for Megan Herder. Herder now swings it to the near side. Lily Phillips. Herder again, straight away. Watched closely by Donaldson. Herder into the post there for Deja Evans. Working against Lee. Evans makes her move. The spin. Beautiful move there from Deja Evans. First points of the fourth quarter from either side. 49-47 UAlbany. Taya Davis moving quickly for the Rams in transition. Amy Hayford in front of her own bench. Gets inside. She lost possession. It's a fight for it on the ground. Last touch off Hayford. It's UAlbany ball.
Amy Hayford, since the last time she scored, she's committed 2 turnovers. And Fordham really just committing to trying to take the lid off the basket from beyond the arc, but not working so far. And credit to UAlbany for playing tight defense.
Rose Nelson checks into the game for Fordham for Matilda Flood. Sarah Carpel across the timeline for UAlbany. Lily Phillips. The shot from mid-range, no good there from Deja Evans. And a rebound for Taya Davis, again pushing the pace. Davis, step back, got the defender to fall. Rose Nelson was open, she gets inside. Beautiful finish from Rose Nelson. Tied up again at 49.
What a timely place for Rose Nelson to get her first 2 points of the game.
6:45 to play in the fourth quarter. 49-49. Sarah Carpel commanding the Great Danes offense in the front court. This near side corner, it's Lily Phillips. Phillips hands off for Carpel. Circling around outside the arc. Carpel backs up straight away. Pass now to the far side. Getting inside. Cooper, Kayla Cooper with the move. Working against Nelson. A whistle and a foul. I think it'll be against Mina Lee. It was Lee and Nelson working inside defending. This crowd doesn't like it. But Cooper will go to the free throw line.
It was awkward positioning from Amina Lee there. Seems like she got all ball, but when you put your hand from behind, from on the other side of the defender from the basket, it makes it a tough call not to call for a foul.
Elian Heigerstrand checks back into the game here as Cooper, first free throw off front rim, no good. Deja Evans checks out of the game. She got the second, so 50-49 UAlbany. Fordham the other way in transition. Hayford, the scoop pass up top for Davis. Rose Nelson straight away on the far side now for Hayford. Swung to this near side for Taya Davis. Now Davis will slow things down to block F logo. 13 seconds to play, or 13 seconds on the shot clock rather. Rose Nelson into the corner for Taylor Donaldson. Hayford looking for the step back three. 4 seconds to shoot. Straight away, it's Davis who gets inside. Taya Davis just rims out. She gets her on board. Davis again, inside for Lee. And Lee with the finish. 51-50 Fordham. 5:40 to play in the fourth quarter. Sarah Carpel for UAlbany. Carpel, Hagastrand, straight away to the far side here for Fatima Lee. Lee gets the screen. Lee bounce pass inside, stolen away by Taylor Donaldson. Donaldson now for Amy Hayford in the near side wing. And Taya Davis will slow things down up top. Davis enters her way to the near side. Still on the perimeter. Taya Davis And a timeout called by Coach B. 10 seconds on the shot clock. 5:08 to play in this fourth quarter. Scored 51-50 between Fordham and Albany.
And you saw there, Coach Mitchell did not like what she saw. You had two players asking for the ball in the post on the same block. Definitely not how they drew it up. A lot of confusion there, but good timeout called by Coach Mitchell.
And 51-50, the Rams on top here over Albany with 5:08 to go. Coach B calls the timeout. And we'll check back in with our sideline reporter, Riley Lucas. Riley, what do you got?
Things are getting hot on the Fordham side as there's been some noticeable frustrations with the reffing coming from both Coach Bridget Mitchell as well as the fans. This whole quarter has been full of back and forth basketball with extremely close scoring, so these Rams cannot afford any bad calls. During the last timeout, Coach Mitchell told these girls, go out there and be available for the handoff, but keep everything clean. On top of this, lock in, because a stop is more than necessary at this point in the game. In her words, if we score or miss, it doesn't matter as long as we get us a stop. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Riley. 51-50 Fordham with 5:08 to play in the fourth quarter as we're in this timeout here. But Julia, thinking about the zone that Albany have been playing, almost at sometimes inviting Fordham to shoot from outside, which they have not been effective at all today.
I mean, if I was Albany, I'd be begging them to shoot from beyond the arc, too. They're 3 for 13, and as I mentioned before, 2 of those 3 have come from Amy Hayford in the first half. They haven't made a 3 since we've come out of the break at half. So Albany is forcing them into those 3-point shots, and they haven't been able to make them at all. So it's time for Fordham to come out with a different look, especially a different look offensively, and hope that they can continue to get stops on the defensive end, because they've done a great job on defense, especially in the last 2 or 3 minutes, being able to force turnovers, get big stops, but they haven't been able to convert those into points on the other end.
And a lot of those attempted threes or attempted long jumpers from the mid-range haven't been close. So I think if you're Albany, you have to continue to invite Fordham to take those kinds of shots. But Fordham have been most effective when they've got inside, whether it's been Amy Hayford or anybody else, or finding Mina Lee inside after a pick and roll. So you have to think Fordham have to keep attacking the basket.
And Fordham is not doing themselves any favors here by starting their play when there's 10 seconds on the shot clock. It feels like every time they get it, unless it's in transition, they're holding the ball at the Block F logo for 5 or 6 seconds. It's hard to develop a play to get to your post player when you're working with 10 seconds.
And it also seems like some miscommunication offensively going into that last timeout with 2 players lined up on the same side of the post. Definitely things not going as smoothly offensively as they did against Adelphi, but it's expected against a better opponent in Albany.
And they're obviously trying things that they didn't try in that first game. I think that's been a theme so far in this one, is confusion on offense. On defense, they've looked great, but when they get on the offensive end and they're trying to develop a play, players are confused on where they should go. Fordham is not getting the ball out before, as I said, well into 5 or 6 seconds into the shot clock, and that causes for chaos as well, and that's the last thing you want blended together, is chaos and confusion on the play.
So coming out of this timeout, it'll be Fordham possession in front of their own bench with 5:08 to play in the fourth quarter. They hold a 1-point lead over Albany, 51-50. The Rams have 10 seconds to shoot as the ball's into Taya Davis. Davis, the screen from Rose Nelson. Davis now on the near side wing, back up top for Taylor Donaldson. 3 seconds. Davis is going to have to shoot. Davis puts it up from distance. No good. That's off front rim, but an offensive rebound from Amy Hayford, who hoists it back to Taya Davis, the Block F logo. Fordham keep possession. Davis again. The screen once more from Nelson. Now Mina Lee sets the pick. Inside for Lee. Lee can't finish. That one hit off the underside of the backboard. Sarah Carpel back the other way for Fordham. Or for Albany, rather. Done that a few times today. So used to seeing Sarah Carpel in the maroon. 4:28 to go. Carpel on the near side in front of her bench. Hayford will call for the foul.
That's going to be Amy Hayford's second foul in this one. Fordham up to 10 total, but luckily those fouls have been pretty spread out evenly. No one over 2 so far.
Fordham will switch out at the 5 position. Miranda Nyborg back in the game. Mina Lee will check out. Megan Herder will inbound in front of her own bench with 4:27 to play. The Great Danes trail Fordham 51-50. Sarah Carpel pass into the post for Hagastrand with Nyborg defending. Hagastrand pass down low. Cooper still working against Rose Nelson, and Cooper draws the foul.
And we talk about Fordham's frustration with the refs only continuing there. The whole team with their mouths open, in shock at that call.
So Kayla Cooper back to the free throw line. She's got 9 points so far, Liv, along with 6 boards and an assist. 3 of 4 on free throws. Make it 4 of 5 for Kayla Cooper. The second's good as well from Kayla Cooper. It's 52-51 U Albany. 4:15 to play in the fourth quarter as Fordham move quickly in transition. Taya Davis holding it up top. Rose Nelson now on the far side. In the corner, Taylor Donaldson. Donaldson to the baseline. Kicks it to the near side. Amy Hayford fakes the three. Now up top, Taya Davis again. Far side wing. Taylor Donaldson will try the triple. No good. Rebound by Megan Herder. She lost it. But Fatima Lee able to recover for U Albany in the backcourt. And she escapes across the timeline. 3:45 to play. The Great Danes lead 52-51. Carpel. Herder now. Top of the key. Kayla Cooper. Cooper into the post for Hagestad. Hagestad, the tough shot. Another foul against the Rams. That one against Miranda Nyborg. With the Great Danes drawing a lot of shooting fouls here down the stretch.
And frustration is continuing to build for Fordham. Miranda Nyborg looking stunned at that call. But from our vantage point, it is clear that she got a hand on Hagestad's arm as she went up for that layup.
So 2 shots for Hagestad. 7 points for her on the day. These are her first free throws of the night. Trying to extend the U Albany lead. Every point matters in a game this close. And her first free throw is perfect. Hagestad from Stockholm, Sweden, was first team All-American East the last 2 seasons. Second free throw, perfect as well. It's 54-51 Great Danes. Taylor Donaldson quickly ahead the other way. Donaldson back out for Taya Davis. Davis to the near side corner. Now back up top for Taya Davis. Davis gets to the lane to the far corner. Matilda Flood. Now Davis. Taylor Donaldson straight away. Davis thought about a shot. Gets to the baseline. Donaldson, it comes to her. The finish and the foul. Huge and one for Taylor Donaldson. It was kind of a broken play. She picks it up, gets the foul. Fordham can tie here.
Really benefiting from right place, right time. An ugly shot to begin with, swatted away right to Taylor Donaldson, who gets the layup and the foul.
Donaldson with a key free throw here. She can tie the game with 3:15 to go in the fourth. And she's perfect on the free throw. It's 54-54. A little bit of an ugly quarter offensively for the Rams. They'll take the points any way they can get. And now the full court press comes back with Mandy McGurk back on the court. McGurk watching Sarah Carpel, and now Fordham will retreat. Carpel across the timeline. McGurk watching her closely. Carpel. Crossover to her right hand on the far side. The handoff there for Herder. Now Hagestad beyond the arc. Kayla Cooper. Top of the key. Cooper, handoff for Herder. She circles around, gets to the basket. Great finish there from Megan Herder. Looped all the way around. It's U Albany 56, Fordham 54. 2:43 to play in the fourth quarter. Mandy McGurk now commanding the Fordham offense with Taya Davis having checked out. Amy Hayford. Pass inside from Miranda Nyborg. Nyborg top of the key, swings to the corner. Mandy McGurk's three! Bullseye! Mandy McGurk gives the Rams the lead. It's 57-56. Sarah Carpel back the other way for the Great Danes. Carpel to the near side. Lily Phillips, now Hagestad working against Miranda Nyborg. Hagestad in the post. Hagestad, the right-handed shot, no good. Offensive rebound, though, by Cooper, who goes back up and finishes. 58-57 U Albany, under 2 minutes to play.
Fordham trying to maintain the momentum they've built in this one.
Amy Hayford now swinging to the far side for Taylor Donaldson. Inside, top of the key, Miranda Nyborg. Now swung to the near corner for Amy Hayford. Hayford into the middle. At the block, Matilda Flood to the far side. Getting inside is Taylor Donaldson. A whistle and a foul, and Donaldson will go to the free throw line.
Fordham finally getting some free throws. Feels like it's been a minute since they've gone to the line. They're 7 for 8 today. Just a game ago, we saw them struggle from the free throw line, just above 50% against Adelphi. Fixing that up now, they're 87.5% from the line with Taylor Donaldson looking to add 2 more to that.
Huge free throws here from Donaldson. The first one rattles home. We're all tied up at 58. 1:35 to play in this fourth quarter. It's been back and forth all night long. It looks like we're in store for a great finish here down the stretch. Second free throw good as well from Donaldson. Fordham back on top, 59-58. Taya Davis back on the court will lead the press for Fordham. But now the Rams retreat as Sarah Carpel crosses the timeline with under a minute 30 to play. Davis in for Mandy McGurk. Carpel now dishes off. Herder straight away. Herder to her right hand, has to pick up her dribble. Bounce pass to Carpel in the far corner. Hagestad able to gather. Hagestad inside for Carpel. The bounce pass for Cooper. No good. Great defense from Donaldson. And a whistle and a foul against Albany. Great help defense there from Taylor Donaldson.
That defensive stand right there caps off the momentum we've seen Fordham build throughout the past 5 or 6 minutes. Really unselfish basketball from Albany, but credit to Fordham to be able to stick with it pass after pass after pass and be able to get a block at the end of that possession.
And now McGurk back in for Davis, so it seems like McGurk will play the offensive possessions down the stretch, and Taya Davis will play on defense. McGurk here across the Block F logo, a minute to play in the fourth quarter. The Rams with a 1-point lead. Donaldson gets the left block, pass to the far corner for Amy Hayford. She bobbled it, able to gather though. Hayford gets the screen from Nyborg, pass inside for Nyborg, and a whistle and a foul. She got bumped by Kayla Cooper. Don't think it was a shooting foul.
Fordham getting bailed out there a little bit by that foul. Miranda Nyborg double covered there. Maybe not the best pass we've seen from Amy Hayford, but nonetheless, foul called.
And that foul puts Fordham into the bonus, so Miranda Nyborg will shoot 2 key free throws here. 52.7 to play. The Rams up 59-58. Once again, Davis checks in for McGurk. The Rams in the bonus. It's Nyborg at the free throw line. First one is perfect for Miranda Nyborg, 60-58 Rams. Second one hits off back rim, but Matilda Flood grabs the offensive rebound. 50 seconds to play, the Rams lead by 2. Taya Davis will hold here. 15 seconds on the shot clock. 10 seconds to shoot, 40 to play. The Rams leading by 2. 7 to shoot, now 6. Davis makes her move. Davis gets to the basket. Taya Davis with the finish. Huge basket from Taya Davis. It's Fordham 62, Albany 58. The Great Danes call timeout with 32 seconds to play.
Taya Davis has had an awful shooting night up to this point. 0 for 4 overall, 0 for 2 from 3. What a spot to get her first 2 points. And what have we seen this whole game? Albany struggling to stop the driving layup, and that's exactly what we saw there.
So interesting, after Nyborg went to the free throw line, Coach B took that opportunity to sub out Mandy McGurk and sub in Taya Davis seemingly for defense, but then Matilda Flood grabs the offensive rebound. Davis has to command the offense, and she does it so well, picking up her first points as a Ram.
And this just further proves the narrative that every single player on this Fordham Rams bench is ready to come in at any point, any situation, and thrive. We saw it there from Taya Davis.
So 62-58 Fordham, it's Albany ball. There's 32 seconds to play. And the Great Danes will inbound in front of their own bench. But Albany are going to have to go fast here. It's a 2-possession game. Trying to get points any way you can. Megan Herder will inbound on the far side. Herder gets into the corner for Lily Phillips. Phillips into the post for Hagestad. Hagestad, the tough turnaround shot, but she knocks it down. Huge shot from Hagestad. 62-60 Fordham. 25 seconds to go. They've got a foul. They can't. Matilda Flood has it now. Flood, still no foul with 20 seconds, and there's a foul from Kayla Cooper with 18 seconds to go, a hard one. So Matilda Flood will shoot free throws. The Rams lead 62-60. There's 18 seconds left on the clock.
A lot of chaos and confusion from Albany during that defensive possession. 30 seconds is kind of an awkward amount of time knowing, when to press and when to foul. Definitely miscommunication and some disagreements between the Albany Great Danes on what the right call was, eventually fouled.
2 more massive free throws here. This time for Matilda Flood. Only 2 points in the day so far. These are her first free throws of the game. She's worked hard, 7 rebounds, teaming that key offensive board to keep the possession alive earlier. first free throw is nylon from Matilda Flood. 3-point game, 63-60. This to make it a 2-possession game. And Flood knocks it down, 64-60 Rams. Timeout here called, 18.6 to go in the fourth quarter. Again, a 2-possession game.
And clutch free throws by Matilda Flood. They're completely changing the narrative from last game that they struggle at free throws. They are now 12 for 14. And also credit to Miranda Nyborg for being able to split those free throws. Those were her first free throws since 2 seasons ago, having to sit out last season due to that back injury she suffered. But Fordham really proving that they can make clutch shots down the stretch here.
Think about who were the two who maybe made the 2 biggest plays of this game. Nyborg with her free throws, Taya Davis with that big bucket, her first points in the Ram. Those are 2 players who haven't played a ton of. Davidson played all in the first game. Nyborg hasn't played a ton of minutes today. But as you spoke to earlier, Julie, it's about the depth this Fordham team can produce.
When you have a team that doesn't exactly have a one true point getter, now we're starting to learn that it might be Amy Hayford, but it just shows depth, as you said.
You all need a back. You're coming out of the timeout. They're in the front court. Deja Evans. Hagestrom, there's only 12 seconds to play. Hagestrom will hoist a long 3. She banked it in. Hellion Hagestrom with 9.5 to go. It's a 1-point game. A desperation shot. Albany took a lot of time on that possession. A desperation 3. Hagestrom banks it in, and it's a 1-point game.
About 5 seconds into that play, it really felt like they were about to wave the white flag there, but Hagestrom throws up one last final effort, banks it in. It is a 1-point game with 9 seconds left. Even if they foul 2 free throws, that's still a 1-possession game. This game, as it stands right now, can be won by anyone.
It's still a timeout left for both teams. So if Albany, assumedly after those free throws, can call a timeout and be able to reset offensively. That looked like a broken possession, and the clock was getting down underneath 10 seconds. Hagestrom just almost Nikola Jokic-esque throwing the ball up from anywhere and banking it in desperation.
And Coach Mullen taking no chances on this one, calling a timeout, setting the plan, because as we saw in the last possession, Albany was on defense for. There was a lot of miscommunication on what should actually be done. Should be no more miscommunication heading out of this timeout.
You got to foul right away. I think that's the message here with 9.5 seconds to go. The Rams up by 1. Taylor Donaldson will inbound in front of the Fordham bench. Donaldson gets into Nyborg. Nyborg for Donaldson, and there's the foul. Abby Ray picks it up. 7.8 seconds to play. But 2 more really, really huge free throws from Miranda Nyborg. Check that, it wasn't Nyborg, it was Taylor Donaldson who got fouled, so Donaldson will go to the free throw line. So Taylor Donaldson to shoot 2. She's got 12 points in the day so far, 3 for 4 from the line. Big spot here for the transfer. First one is good. 65-63 Rams, this to make it a 3-point game. Second one rattles home as well. Fordham back up by 3, and a timeout immediately by Albany. That's their final timeout. 7.8 seconds to go, but now you got to draw up a play for the tie.
Yep, and Albany benefits from the fact that they have post players who can shoot the 3 ball really, really well. You look at Hagestrom, who's shot the 3 exceptionally well. Sarah Carpel has shown that she now is a viable 3-point threat. Lily Phillips has had a really quiet game here so far. And then you also have Kayla Cooper, who's arguably one of the better players on this team. So there's a lot of options for Albany, which makes it exceptionally difficult for Fordham on who to point out and guard.
But if you're Coach Colleen Mullen, who are you putting the ball in the hands of?
Hagestrom, it's got to be.
It has to be. You see 2 tough shots in the last 2 possessions for Albany. A turnaround mid-range jumper that was very contested, knocked that one down, and then the desperation 3. It seems she has a knack for making those contested shots. We saw it in the first half as well. I think she's back-to-back all-conference for a reason.
Exactly. She's coming off of a pretty tough 3-point performance, going 1 for 6 against Merrimack just a few days ago, but kind of flipping the script here now, has a chance to give her team the tie and send it into overtime. No better story to end it with for her.
So here we go. Fordham 66, Albany 63, 7.8 seconds to go. Albany ball in front of their own bench in the front court. It will be Megan Herder to inbound for the Great Danes. Taylor Donaldson on the ball. You see what they draw up here. Herder into Hagestrom is kicked by Donaldson. And we'll do that again, just 0.3 seconds come off the clock. Now the referee talking to the scorers table, maybe about the timing. but we'll do it again. You get 7.8 back on the clock, so no time comes off. Herder again to inbound. Here we go. Herder on the far side to inbound. Hagestrom calling for it. It's flipped up to Hagestrom. Immediately Davis with the help defense. And Taya, it's a travel! It's a travel! Thought it was going to be a foul on Taya Davis. They forced the travel on Hagestrom. And that'll do it, pretty much.
Fordham immediately double teaming Hagestrom the moment she gets the ball. And it was a bit of a late double team too. Taya Davis running in after she already received the ball in her hands. Seemed to have frazzled Hagestrom into a travel. Perfect defensive possession for Fordham. And just 6 seconds on the clock there. They could foul, but all in all, it's looking like this is going to end in a Fordham Rams victory.
Albany likely will foul here with still 6 seconds to go. Fordham could potentially miss their free throws. You never know. But just one make here, and the Rams could be 2-0 on the season. But Taya Davis coming out of nowhere there to help out on Hagestrom. I thought she was going to get whistled for the foul, but the pressure and the chaos that Davis provides enough to get Hagestrom to travel.
I mean, she pursued Hagestrom with incredible aggression there. I would have been shocked if it was called a foul, but Hagestrom moving her feet before any kind of contact could possibly be made. Just a brutal place to commit an uncharacteristic turnover for Hagestrom.
So coming out of the timeout, no timeouts left for either side here with 6.6 to go. Amy Hayford will inbound in the front court in front of the Fordham bench. Albany are going to have to foul right away. Hayford looking to get it in. She gets into Mandy McGurk at the Block F logo. McGurk fouled there by Fatima Lee with 4.9 to go.
And Albany is still hesitating, trying to guard a little bit before they foul. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't understand the rationale behind, if you're going to foul anyway, you might as well run right there and get it in. But no, a whole second comes off the clock before Mandy McGurk's free throws.
So this potentially to put the game away with 4.9 to go. The Rams up by 3. 2 shots for Mandy McGurk. First one rims out. She was 1 for 4 at the line in the season opener. And this is really a big one now for Mandy McGurk to make it a 2-possession game. McGurk misses the second as well. No timeouts. 3 seconds to go. Hayford stole it back in the backcourt, and that will do it. The hustle play from Amy Hayford after the 2 missed free throws from Mandy McGurk. Fordham defeats Albany 66-63. They're 2-0 on the season.
And the way that game ended is just the icing on the cake there for what we've seen throughout this entire game. Not giving up on a play, going for the offensive rebound. That defensive intensity that we've seen the whole first game and throughout the second game gets them the win here. An incredibly clutch offensive rebound by Amy Hayford seals this one for Fordham.
When you talk about hustle, you talk about defensive intensity, it's not just a talking point from Coach B. We've seen it in these first 2 games against Adelphi and then here against Albany. Just the chaos you can cause defensively by being aggressive, that's really what gave Fordham this win at the end of the day.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. A huge win over Albany as they look to Miami in just 2 days now. They don't have a lot of time to think about this win. Definitely take the night, think about what went well, think about things that things did go wrong. There were things that they need to work on going into Miami, but their strength of schedule really has benefited them going from a Division II team into Albany, now working your way up to a team that made the Elite 8 just last season. So defensive intensity, incredible. Defensive rebounding and offensive rebounding continuing to be a really huge strong suit, but just working on connecting it on the offensive end.
And I don't think it's harsh to say, this offense looked pretty lost for most of the fourth quarter. A lot of the third quarter as well when Albany were in that zone. Fordham couldn't shoot from outside, but to be able to have the fight, to that broken play, the Rose Nelson and one, stuff like that, that really sort of catapulted this Fordham team that it wasn't a pretty game, as you said, Julia. At some points, offensively, it was not pretty from this Fordham team, but to come out on top here, 2-0, heading to Miami, it's a big deal.
I mean, it just shows that hard work that they have really splits the difference when they are struggling on the offensive end. The hustle that they show to get extra possessions and give themselves a shot to extend leads that we've seen in this game. Absolutely incredible. And yes, offense needs to be better. There's no doubt about that, especially as talent of roster continues to increase and increase throughout this season. But it's a good sign that they're able to build momentum and build just hustle throughout the game and be able to push on the defensive end throughout the game.
Final score here at the Rose Hill Gym, Fordham 66, Albany 63. The Rams improved to 2-0 in the season. They'll fly to Miami tomorrow and take on Miami on Sunday afternoon, but that will do it here from me and Julia inside the Rose Hill Gym. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the one-on-one postgame with Jack Warner and Chris Persiano.
The one-on-one post-game report.
What a game, what a game, what a game. The Fordham Rams take down the Albany Great Danes by a final score of 66-63. We will have all your post-game coverage in just a few moments, but not before Chris Persiano takes us through one more one-on-one scoreboard.
One-on-one post-game report.
Welcome to your final scoreboard update of the game. Let's take a look around the rest of the A10 women's basketball landscape. GW at Manhattan up 33-31 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter here in the Bronx. UMass Lowell lost by 50 points on the road to Rhode Island. VCU, with 2 minutes left in their game, are up 65-52 at William and Mary. Over in the NBA, the in-season tournament rolling along. 76ers taking a lead over the Pistons, 81-76, closing out the third quarter. The Wizards up 99-97 over Charlotte, got a close one in D.C. The Boston Celtics up 71-60 over the Brooklyn Nets. Houston up 46-40 on New Orleans. San Antonio up 43-39 on Minnesota, and Utah up 59-49 on the Memphis Grizzlies. So lots of close ones over there. Definitely raised intensity in the in-season tournament. Lots of action, but going to get you back to the post-game show so we can talk about the action here at the Rose Hill Gym.
Now, Chris, who shot better in this game from the free throw line? Albany did. Who shot better from the field? Albany did. Who shot better from behind the arc? Albany did. But you know who made the plays when they mattered? Fordham did. And I think you can tell the story of pretty much the entirety of this second half in the final 1.5 to 2 minutes of play. You start with Taylor Donaldson. She bodies up Kayla Cooper, makes a huge block right at the hoop, preserves a 1-point lead for Fordham. That layup goes in. Albany goes up 1. It doesn't. She gets the block, preserves the lead. Then they go back down the court. Foul is drawn. First free throw is hit to put Fordham up 2. Second free throw misses, but Matilda Flood gets the offensive rebound, gets it back out to Taya Davis. Taya Davis sets things back up. Huge layup, puts Fordham up 4. You see multiple plays towards the end of regulation in a tight game that could go either way, where Fordham stepped up in big positions and were able to apply the pressure when it was needed most.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. I mean, Fordham just pulled this one out. And the way they did that was with confident play at the end of the game. It really looked like, despite the fact that this team was just put together, despite the fact that there are 8 players on this roster who did not call the Bronx home last season, it looks like this Fordham team kind of has its formula down. And to me, it's because whether you think she's an excellent one or a poor one or somewhere in between, I personally think she's done a really nice job to begin the season. Amy Hayford looks like someone who knows how to be a number 1 option, and that's real important. Fordham has someone who their offense runs through. I think everyone on this team has a defined role, right? You look at when the starting 5's out there. Hayford, the lead scorer. Lee, the big down low. McGurk, initiator, someone to space the floor. Same with Donaldson, a play finisher, like we were talking about at halftime with that catch-and-shoot 3-point action. Rose Nelson, off-ball forward that brings defensive impact, switchability on the defensive end, and most importantly, in my opinion, really high IQ passing out of the short roll, so she can kick out to those 3-pointers for Donaldson or whatever it is that Fordham is looking to do. I think everyone just has a role on this team that they know how to fill. Everyone from Taya Davis and Kayla Harris up to Amina Lee and Amy Hayford. Just people have a role on this team that they've played before, that they're comfortable in, that they know what they're doing in, and it's working out. Fordham's able to stick to a formula that involves paying attention to details. Even Coach Ergo talks about this all the time for the men's team. Coach Bridgette Mitchell for the women's team talks about it all the time as well. It's just a Fordham thing, paying attention to defense, paying attention to rebounding. That's what gets you on the court, are the details. When you're on the court, then it's time to show the coaches, what you can do offensively. But the way to get on the court is attention to detail. It's defense, it's rebounding. And you see Taya Davis come in for her defense and end up shining on the offensive end. Matilda Flood being in for defense and getting a huge rebound that ends up contributing offensively for the team. Just those contributions are going to come when you lock in on defense. That's what Fordham did. They're playing a tough Albany team that did have some talent out there and had some shooting out there, but they were able to overcome it by sticking to their game.
You mentioned highlighting defense. You mentioned Amy Hayford, who had an unbelievable game today. A clutch steal as time expires, because after that missed free throw, realistically, Albany did have one more chance to put up a three-point shot to possibly send this game into overtime, but not on Amy Hayford's watch. Clutch steal as time expires to end this one. She finishes with 22 points, 8 of 13 from the field. She shot 50% from three-point, 4 for 4 on her free throws. Just a fantastic game all around for the Fordham Rams, but an even more impressive showing from Emmy Hayford. But that is just gonna about wrap it up for this one-on-one post-game report. Thank you very much for tuning in, and tune in this weekend when the Fordham Rams take on the University of Miami Hurricanes.